We're on air. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Team Top 5 TTV Stream 19. It's an absolute pleasure for us all to be here. You're watching the best, the greatest fragrance-related live stream in the known universe, scientifically proven. Like I said, I am your host this evening, the Fragrance Press. I want to give a shout out to all of my friends in the UK. Hope you've had an enjoyable but safe this evening. So let's start with introductions. Why don't we go over to Manny from CASCADESCENTS?
Yeah, so I'm Manny from CASCADESCENTS. You can find me at youtube.com/CASCADESCENTS, and most of my social media is at the Manny David. Part of Team Top 5. Can't wait to get this thing started. And my scent of the day is this right here. It's Viking by Creed.
No.
And of course, I'm the standard.
Nice.
Yeah. Loving it. And so, yeah, also just to mention that my scent of the day, it's something that we do regularly forget here on Team Top 5, is Angel Men's Pure Malt. I believe it has been formulated recently, which is quite sad, but I've got the old school bottle, and as you can see, I've got plenty of it. Let's move on to Timmy from Imagine Scents.
Hey guys, it's Timmy here from, like you said, Imagine Scent. You can find me at Imagine Scent YouTube channel, and my social media is random named everywhere. Just find it in the description. And my scent of the day is actually this one here, Ramon's Multi-Star Art and Gold perfume. Oh, such a really amazing caramel, winter, delicious fragrance. You guys have to try it if you guys have not tried it yet. So that's it for me.
Timmy, you've sold me already.
Yeah.
It's always good to see Timmy representing those indie, hard-to-find gourmand fragrances in the insane Las Vegas heat. He's a real soldier, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to Ashton from Gents. Our first stream together, Ashton.
Yeah, I know.
What?
It's taken almost 20.
That's actually true. This is our first, proper stream together. It's good.
Yeah, so my nickname is Ash Ketchum. Ketchum all.
Beautiful.
So you can find all my Gents information in the description. I'm sure most everybody here knows already, but it's all there. And then scent of the day today is Paco Rabanne Pure XS, which the bottle is actually over there, so I'm not going to go grab it, but that was the scent of the day today.
Love it.
I know that Steven and Carlos both like that, I believe.
I like that one as well. I even wrote a song about it.
Yep.
Anyway, I actually did. You should go watch that. Anyway, and our final member on Team Top 5 this evening is a little known YouTube. If we could just give him a little bit of support. I think he's only just started actually. His name is Stephen from Redolessence, everybody. Very, very excited to have him back on the show. Steve.
Listen, it's always a pleasure to be back. So my name is Steven. I have a YouTube channel called Redolessence, REDOLESSENCE. My scent of the day today is a fragrance by the company Baruti, and it's called Chai. It used to be known as Untitled No. 2 by Magnetic Scent. And then they were forced to change their names, I think like a copyright violation or something. Yeah, I smell like chai tea.
I like that one. That was a good one. I also like Tinder from that brand.
Yeah, that's a really good one too.
I'm trying to change the difficulty settings on my Tinder, if anybody can help me out with that. Anyway, we've got a game today to start off with. It's a buzzer game. It's called Name That Note Breakdown. So I will be giving 4, maybe 5 notes of a fragrance composition, and then the team member who first recognizes the fragrance by its note breakdown has got a buzz, and if they get it right, they do get a point. The first 2, 3 points will win, and we'll get a 2-minute plug at the end of the game. So to make it a bit more clearer, if I was to say the example pineapple, juniper berry, birch, oak moss, and then somebody was to buzz in whilst I was saying all of that and said Apprentice by Creed, they would win that point. I hope that that's as straightforward as possible, but you're going to have to buzz or make some embarrassing sound to catch my attention, to just really add entertainment value to this. We're going to start off With this fragrance, I'm gonna get to 5 notes, and if you haven't guessed it, then I will just move on to another fragrance. We all ready? This is actually a relatively easy one. Okay. So, cocoa, lavender, iris.
Beep.
Ashton from Gents. Go on.
Your own intense.
I'm gonna have to give you half a point with that. It is the original Dior Homme.
The cocoa.
So, but it's the cocoa thing is, but yeah, that's what it's saying. Yeah. And this was the reimagined version, actually. So, but yeah, I appreciate the buzzing noise. That's very nice of you.
It beep. I'll sing
So I'm just going to give. I'm just to keep things simple. I'm probably going to give Ashton a point there because even though that was quite simple, it's a little bit difficult. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's keep going. Lavender, patchouli, coffee.
Buzz.
Oh.
Lavender and coffee. Is it Au Noir by Dior?
I'm afraid it's not, Stephen.
Oh.
I'm afraid it's not. I know where you're going. So lavender, coffee, vanilla, patchouli, tonka bean. That's all I'm going to give.
Can I buzz again?
Yes, you can, Steve.
New Harlem.
Yes, it is. That's a point to Stephen from Redolessence. Oh my goodness. Right, let's
Should have said pancake and syrup for New Harlem. I would have.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah. That's not. I'm afraid
notes.
I'm afraid that is not the official note breakdown, but I appreciate it anyway. Right, let's see if we can keep going here. This one is. In fact, I'm not going to go for that because that is way too straightforward, way too simple. I want to try and keep it, fun and exciting and all of that rubbish.
Start pulling out some really random stuff. We all just stay here.
Yeah, right. So,
where are the words at? Oh.
I know one of you will probably definitely get this. Okay, so patchouli, vanilla, tobacco, white honey, and French labdanum.
Oh, jeez.
Buzz.
Yes.
Buzz.
Yes.
Jubilation 25 man.
Yes, mate. No, it is not. But it's a good guess. So those notes again are white honey, tobacco, vanilla, patchouli, and French labdanum, or any type of labdanum. Anyway, one last guess. No. Okay, we'll move on. But that one was Angelman Pure Havane.
Oh, Pure Havane.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. Someone in the comments said that Steven's gonna kick ass in this game. I agree.
Oh man, yeah, he is. He's actually doing quite well here. Okay, so let's go for a really straightforward one here. Actually, no. Actually, it might not be. Right. Okay, so I am trying to make these a little bit easy here. So we'll go with this guy here. So. In fact, yeah, this is. I think. Yeah, okay. So, orange, vetiver, pepper,
Buzz,
cedar.
Oh, kiss. I was gonna say Terre d'Hermes.
Is that your official answer? Or what
Yeah, I buzzed. I guess I'll go with that since that's what I was originally going to say. And now I've got myself messed up.
Gents has 2 points. That is Terre d'Hermes.
Nice.
That is actually Terre d'Hermes. Nice. Okay.
I'm surprised Manny didn't get that.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Okay.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
So let's keep going. This one is a very popular one, actually. So I'm just going to give that as a clue. vetiver, wood, grapefruit, oak moss, orange blossom,
Buzz.
and yes,
Buzz.
Manny.
Blood of Chanel.
I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not. I'll tell you again. Vetiver, woodsy notes, grapefruit, oak moss, and finally sage.
Buzz. Is it Grey Vetiver?
It is Grey Vetiver.
Yay.
1 point to you, Tim.
Good job.
Oh my goodness. So we've got Ashton on 2 here, drinking a beer because of the stress.
Yeah.
It's an absolutely terrible habit. You shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't be drinking on stream.
I'm sorry.
Says the whiskey.
Okay, so we've got right now. We've got Ashton on 2. We've got Tim on 1. We've got Steve on 1. Come on, Manny.
I was going to say Blue de Chanel in the last one too, and then.
Okay, so this one, somebody does actually have. Oh man, somebody does actually have a advantage on this one here. Okay, this one's a bit harder now. This one is a bit harder. Juniper, sandalwood, vanilla, lemon, pine needles.
Buzz.
Yes, Manny.
Gypsy water.
It's Gypsy Water by Fragrantica.
If anyone else got that one, I would have.
Buzz.
And he would have literally. Oh my god. Oh man. Okay.
I should have buzzed on
Right, let's-
sandalwood and just made a guess.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this one is pretty simple. Well, I think this is a pretty simple one coming up. So please, gentlemen, especially with the fact that Ashton could win this. I'm right. This is intense. So, vanilla, musk, cinnamon, tonka bean, cloves.
Buzz.
Steven.
Musk Ravageur.
Yes, it is. Oh, he's on 2 points. This is getting intense. All right, 2 points. 2 points. All right, Ashton and Stephen. It's down to you two.
That scent is overrated.
Dropping bombs.
Got red pills over my jaw over here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man. Okay, so I'm going to try and make it a little bit more difficult. All of you do have a few points going on here. So let's make this one a little bit difficult. Dried plum, cocoa,
Buzz.
resin.
Oh God.
Who said that?
Ooh.
Stephen.
Is it 1270 by For a Pen?
Oh my God! He wins it. It's Repan 1270. I didn't even get to the honey or anything. That is mental. Ladies and gentlemen,
Not a lot of fragrances with dry plum.
Yeah, it's like
I didn't even get to pineapples.
Dried fruits in general.
One of my favorite notes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you love the plum.
goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, it all for you nine. And so, ladies and gentlemen, was there any doubt? It is the professor, of course. It is Stephen from Redolessence, who won. Clearly had a little bit of an advantage there. Stephen, you have got 2 minutes to promote what you're doing with the channel at the moment, your activities. What's going on with Stephen from Redolessence? Your 2 minutes start now.
Oh gosh, well, I have a lot of things coming up on the channel. Of course, my top 10 fall, which I haven't released yet. I also have a lot of reviews coming up. I know some of it is fragrances that have already come out. People have reviewed it. Stuff like Y by YSL and some other really common fragrances. The new Prada Lum Low. I have a review coming out of that as well. I would also like to promote, I will be speaking at Menfluential next year in February. I believe it's the 23rd and the 24th. So if you guys can come out to that, please do so. But I'm also going to have to encourage you guys to subscribe to all of these people down here. They're all fantastic. I would consider them all very good friends of mine. You know, Timmy, George, Manny, Ashton. So just spread the love about fragrance. Keep it positive, and I'm excited to be here today.
Oh,
He's right. Everybody subscribe to me. Anyway, moving on. Thank you so much, Stephen, for that. I love you more than you will ever know. Anyway, hot or not, perfume. Today we've got classic, classic in the team top 5 staple. It is our hot or not section. But today we're changing up a bit, and it's a Perfumier edition. We're going to be talking about different perfumiers. We're also going to be giving examples of the work that they've done, and we're going to be asking team top 5 whether it is hot or not. Listen, as much as I do love the sound of my own voice, could somebody please get rid of that echo? So, first of all, speaking of Bond's number 9 New Harlem and Musk Ravageur, we're going to be talking about Maurice Roussel, who has been quite an eclectic perfumier. He's done Bond number 9 New Harlem, Musk Ravageur, Roche Man, but he's also perfumiered Nautica Voyage. So he does have a little bit of depth, and he does have range. Let's start with Manny from Cascade Scents. Is Maurice Roussel hot or not?
Man, like, I swear, like, I feel like Maurice Roussel hasn't done something too, like, hot in at least, and, like, this isn't hyperbole or anything, but at least 10 years, you know? So, like, I'm just not sure how active he is. Like, I know he's been around for a minute, so, like, if he's, like, retired or semi-retired. We're based on, like, what he has done. I can't say I dislike anything heavily from him. Like, he's not my favorite perfumer because, like, the style of, like, gourmands that he typically does are overly, you know, sweet, spicy, or syrupy to my nose. And that's just not me. Voyage is nice for its price point, of course. But overall, like, I think he's very talented. So I have to say hot. You know, Musk Ravageur, despite my disdain for it, I think is still a very good fragrance. New Harlem, you know, it's a decent take on the Jordan Legend DNA. So there's that too. But he's also done other things that I, you know, kind of like Dante Bra doesn't get a lot of talk, and I think I actually do like it low key, and I would not mind owning a 10 ml of it. So, you know, I have to give him props for that too. So yeah, definitely hot.
Cool. So he's Maurice Roussel getting a hot from Manny there. Let's move on to Ashton. Maurice Roussel, hot or not?
Yeah, so I think I'm a little more on the fence, and I'm semi-cheating just because I know the like the heavy hitters that all of these noses have released or been a part of, but I'm just scrolling through their list on Fragrantica to get a wider feel, I guess, and there's not a whole lot there that's really hitting me that he's released, you know, or been a part of. Jesus, so. Hypnose is good, and then there's not a whole lot else there. New Harlem, Kenzo Air Intense. I like both of those, but I don't know, man. For me, it's a lukewarm. So the more modern releases, I'll say not.
Okay, so
that's a very fair answer.
Divisive.
Yeah.
Geez. I mean, okay. Well, that's a hot and a not.
It's not like not means bad. It's just it's not hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because I'm looking through like 2016 releases, and there's like he did an Avon release, and not a whole lot else. It's just a lot of cheaper stuff that doesn't really appeal to much of anybody. So
I think the guy's just trying to make a living at this point. He's done all the classics, and just retiring almost.
I mean, like the way that works is like the oils that he's still and he's still making money.
Yeah.
Geez, who is that? Name them and shame them.
That's
I think that might be you, Steve. In fact, it is you, Steve.
Is it?
No, it's you. It's you, George.
It's not me.
George.
That is not me.
Okay, it's intermittent.
No, we're having technical difficulties over here at Team Top 5. So I don't know what's going on. Right, so it's a hot from Manny, but just barely, and from Ashton, it's a sort of an on the fence, but mostly not.
Yeah.
So let's go over to Timmy from Imagine Scents. Maurice Roussel, come on, you're a gourmand lover. What is your take on his fragrances?
Not.
Yeah, get it, Tim.
Well, that was quick.
Get it.
I'm looking like I did what Ashton did too, like when he first mentioned his name, because I don't know many of his fragrances. I went down and I was like, there's not a lot here that I like at all. I mean, the one he did for the Labo, I thought it was just all right. He did one thing for Initio Parfums Privé, which is a brand I'm familiar with, but it's the newer one, Addictive Vibration, that I wasn't too interested in. New Harlem is okay, but like it's a fragrance that I don't see myself wearing at all. I think the only fragrance that I think he's kind of notable for right now that's got talked over the last it's one of the older ones, but I got Jeremy Fragrance talked about it. This is Rojas Man.
Oh yeah.
But then again, I've never tried that fragrance either. I also don't like Musc Ravageur, so that's all I'm gonna say about this.
You
guy.
don't really like Bond Number Burn Harlem. You're not gonna like Roches because they're basically the same.
Yeah. So yeah,
They're basically the same.
Not for me.
Right. So Stephen, please help me out here. You're a classic guy like myself, and back in the day, Maurice Roussel was I don't know, Picasso really in the old school grassroots fragrance community. Is he hot or not to you, Steve?
Well, I think there are only a few fragrances that he's put out that I'm actually in love with, and one of them is, of course, New Harlem. The other one is Musc Ravageur, of which I own 2 bottles. I'm going to have to say hot, but it is kind of in lukewarm territory as well, because I feel like he'll take a DNA that's really popular and then he'll use it for a few different houses. So I know for a fact Musc Ravageur smells strikingly similar to Labdanum 18 by Le Labo. And he's the perfumer for both of those fragrances. And then I remember smelling a Lolita Lampica fragrance, which I own. And that one also reminded me of that Musc Ravageur DNA. Of course, you have Rojas Man and New Harlem, both of which have a similar DNA, both composed by him. And then I've also noticed that with another one of his fragrances. Hypnos Homme reminds me a little bit of Riverside Drive by Bond Number 9, which I also own. Not crazy about that one, though. So, I mean, the few fragrances of
Riverside Drive, too, to be honest.
He did do Riverside Drive.
Yeah. And so I just think it's kind of weird that, he'll take a formula and then he'll rehash it. So that I'm not a huge fan of. Now it's almost like I'm looking out for the designer clone, if you will. But I actually do like the guy, and I think he's incredibly talented. So I would say hot.
Cool. So quite a mixed reaction, far more of a mixed reaction than I thought we'd get from Maurice Roussel. I'm going to say my thing, and I would have to give him a hot. To my fall fragrances, my top 10 fall list that's coming out very soon include his work. I really do appreciate that he has managed to be successful with something like Musc Ravageur, but also been successful with something like Nautica Voyage. Impressive if you have that range. But you know what? It's a fair criticism of the man. He is repetitive, which is something that a lot of some perfumiers can be guilty of. But yeah, if you're saying that no, it's not just Roches Man and Bond Number 9 New Harlem, it's a lot of other different things. There we go. So Maurice Roussel gets quite a lukewarm reaction. Not as it would have been a few years ago. He would have been seen as huge deal. Let's move over to Olivier Cresp. Now, this man has got range as well. He is responsible for Terry Mugler's first ever fragrance, Angel for Her. He did one of my favorite fragrances, Versace Man Au Fresh. And he along with Annick Minardo, did Jean-Paul Gaultier's failed Cocorico. So he's had quite a and high and low career. what are we thinking about Olivier Cresp? Let's take it over to Manny from Cascade.
Okay, so Olivier Cresp is known for doing a lot of feminine vanilla fragrances. Like that's his shtick.
Yeah.
So if you're into, you know, just overly sweet, feminine, girly stuff, like I am from time to time, then, you know, you might be really into Olivier Cresp. That being said, I think everything else he's done is fairly middle of the road, if not really bad. So as far as the stuff I'm familiar with, like not a Cocorico guy.
No.
Versace and Eau Fresh is very, very rudimentary to me, being around like starfruit and stuff. I just don't find it as exotic as like, you know, someone who might not have been around it in their childhood or whatnot. But I just think it's an okay summer fragrance. Now, when it comes to stuff I do like from him, like it's gone, like Midnight in Paris and its flankers. Not Midnight in Paris, Midnight Poison by Christian Dior. Lovely stuff. And it's literally one of my favorite rosy vanilla fragrances ever, but it's gone. And with that caveat, is Olivier Cresp still hot or not? I don't even think one fragrance that I really love from him would have made him hot. So definitely not.
Seething as ever from Manny there. We love it. So let's move on to Timmy. Olivier Cresp, in your eyes.
There's some of the ones in here that I really like. Midnight Poison being one of them. You know, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, huge seller. #1 for women for a long time. And there's also the YSL line. He did the Black Opium, which is very popular as well. Granted, it's a little
he
to
did.
me a little basic. It's just very sweet, generic female kind of fragrance, but it's very popular. I don't know, and there's one that I particularly liked. His newer release, the Mon Paris line, the Mon Paris, particularly in the US. But that line for women is actually really good as well. I like that. So like in terms of his newer work, he does have that line, the Mon Paris line, to speak for himself. So I feel like he's still in the game, like he's not done yet, and for that reason, I'm gonna give him a hot, because there are still some that I really like from him. I'm not gonna speak for his vintage stuff. Obviously, I've never tried them. So yeah, I'm only gonna speak for the ones that I've tried, and for the ones I've tried so far, I like most of them.
I am so surprised you said that, Tim. I'm so surprised.
Yeah, like I'm looking at this collection right here, and I'm like, I haven't smelled most of these. Like these are so old that like I've just never seen them anywhere.
Do you own any Cresp fragrances?
Do
you own any Cresp fragrances?
The ones I like that I said, like if you recognize, are like all women's. So I do own Black Opium.
Okay.
That is cool though. That is really cool to say.
Yeah. Like I like his female releases more than his men's releases. Oh, I also own Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue.
Yeah,
it's also really nice. My girlfriend.
At this point, I just wanted to give a shout out in the chat to a chap called Raphael. Just wanted to say thank you so much for everything that you've been doing for all of us. Very lovely chap. It's good to see you supporting Team Top 5. Anyway, moving on to Ashton. Olivier Cresp, what's going on? Ashton, my fellow drinking buddy, what's going on? Are you gonna do it?
I was muted. I was muted. Are you
gonna mime it out like a silent film?
Hollywood silent film. That was me. So if I include all of the older releases that I actually really like, then I'm going to say hot. If I base it mostly off of what's coming out right now, I'm going to say not. Because Midnight Poison is a sick release. It's a great smelling fragrance. I own a 100 ml bottle. Armani Attitude is awesome. I actually don't dislike Cocorico. Dune is a pretty good release. Versace Man Eau Fraiche is one of my favorite Versace fragrances, and Angel for women is a classic. And Black XS, for that matter, is actually a pretty good fragrance as well on the Paco Rabanne side. So going off of his older releases, newer things, it completely doesn't appeal to me at all. So if we're basing it off of doing currently, then I'll say not.
Right then.
But with the understanding that his previous releases, a lot of them are really, really, really good.
Fair enough. Let's move on to Stephen from Redolessence. I'd love to know your thoughts on Olivier Cresp.
Well, when I think of Olivier Cresp, there are far more Oliviers that come to mind. Olivier Polge, Olivier Creed. In terms of his releases, though, I mean, don't get me wrong, the guy has like more talent in his pinky than I will ever have in my entire body. But there are a few fragrances. I know Ashton alluded to one of them, Armani Attitude. I actually owned 2 bottles of that at one point. I really do like Light Blue for women. I think my favorite might have to be Black Excess by Paco Rabanne. That's one that I still wear. And Zara cloned it not too long ago. But just because his taste as a whole doesn't really resonate with mine, I would have to say I'm not.
So Olivier Cresp, not getting too much love. It's interesting, you know, he's done a lot of great stuff. The guy is evidently quite talented, especially with Angel by Terry Mugler, which is something that not only a lot of women do wear, but a lot of men have openly admitted to wearing. Black Excess, I think that the only disadvantage is that we may not be able to resonate with him so much because a lot of the classic fragrances that he has done have been on the female side. So it's tempting to kind of give the guy a nod, but looking at his manifesto, I'm going to give him a bit of a benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give the guy a hot, but with the understanding that I may not be able to resonate completely with some of the more female-orientated releases. So that was Olivier Cresp. He didn't do too well there, actually, did he? Anybody give him a hot apart from me? I think it was me and Tim, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Goodness.
Yeah, I think so.
Olivier, step it up. Team top 5 are disappointed with you. Come on. Let's move on to Annick Minardo. Really interesting perfumier. He did such classics as Boss Bottled, Vulgari Black, Christian Dior's Bay d'Argent. I'm sorry, I mean Bois d'Argent.
No, you got it right the first time.
Christian Dior's Bay d'Argent. And unfortunately, Mr. Too Fresh is not here with us this evening, but he did do Azaro Chrome.
You mean she?
Yeah, she.
She. Well,
Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
You're drunk.
You know, I knew that I'd put in one female perfumier here. And
Sure you did.
I did know that. I thought to myself, it's certainly not Francis Kurjan. Right. Well, yes. Annick Minardo. She did have the surgery successfully in the past 2 seconds. She is a wonderful perfumier, absolutely fantastic. What are we going for? Let's start. Actually, let's start with Stephen this time. Annick, what do you think of this lovely lady?
She's definitely a hot. Yeah, I love her stuff. She was one of the perfumers where I think I went on fragrancenet.com one day and I just bought like everything she's ever made because I was so interested by her fragrances. And you have Hobo, which is like super leathery. You have Lolita Lampica's Al Masculan, which for a lot of people, they don't like the licorice vibe. I personally love it. I think it's very underrated. And I think for her, what I appreciate the most is that she knows how to push the envelope just far enough that the fragrance is still going to resonate with people, but not so much that it ventures into territory where it starts to turn people off and it frightens them. So I really love her work. I am a huge fan. I bought even some like really obscure fragrances by her, like Celine Dion for men. It's like, which sucked, by the way.
Well, it's good that you're adventurous and that you support fellow artists.
This is a whole new way of shopping for fragrances. I'm just gonna go to this perfumer and buy everything.
Hey, that's actually, you know, back in the day, I bought one of Maurice Roussel's kind of lesser known fragrances. It sucks, but you've got to do it. You know, you've got to, you know, even with your musical artists, you've got to try and buy some of their weaker albums to just get a general idea of what's going on. Manny, What's going on?
Free. Definitely hot. Definitely one perfumer that I wish was the in-house perfumer of Christian Dior instead of Francois Demachy. Personally,
Oh my
really huge fan of Baie d'Argent, Hypnotic Poison, all with flankers. I think she does a lovely job. Even stuff like Gaillac 10 is probably my second favorite city exclusive from Milabo, which of course is one of her creations. I just think she's a wonderful perfumer, and a very, very eclectic style, because I don't think she has like, a typical signature, which is cool and not cool depending on how you look at it. But the fact that she's been able to tackle so many styles, I think is lovely. Even did something like, you guys remember like Body Kuros from back in the day, which I don't own anymore, but it's one of the bottles when I didn't know anything about fragrances that I actually ran out of when I was like, in my teenage years. So there was that. But I just think she's amazing, and she's probably top 5, top 10 for me perfumers, period.
It's me. Right, so let's go to Ashton.
Yeah, so it's going to be a hot for me too.
Wow, there's a lot of love.
I actually really like Close-Up Olfactive Studio. And she did that. Bulgari Black, Jaipur Homme. Hypnotic Poison is actually my favorite women's fragrance, period. I've said that before. And Bois d'Argent, I have a 250 ml bottle of that. I actually own every single fragrance I just mentioned. So, yeah, it's a pretty easy hot for me.
Goodness
I'm gonna
me.
just basically echo everything that's already been said, because all bases have pretty much been covered.
So an insane amount of love going for Annick Minardo here. Let's go to Timmy from Imagine Scents.
Well, there's Boss Bottle, which is a staple. Hypnotic Poison, which like inspired Pegasus.
Standard.
Then, like, although I haven't tried a lot of her creations, I feel like the ones that I've tried are, like what Steven said, very boundary pushing, but just enough for it to be like an innovation and not a flop. And with that, I just with mad respect, because I always love a person who likes to push boundaries and do something new. And I'm really excited to see what she comes up more in the future. So definite hot for me.
Wow, absolutely fantastic. Well, hots all round, and I'm not going to disagree. This woman has done an insane amount of classic fragrances, even one that is near and dear to my heart, which is Body Kuros, which I do have a 100 milliliter of. I know that isn't the most loved fragrance in the game, but that really has a nostalgic vibe for me. But I wanted to really kind of give a bigger idea. She's done Hypnotic Poison. She's also done the classic Fuel for Life by Diesel. She's also done Potion by D Squared. So there's a lot of, Armani attitude. There's a lot of work that is to her name, and really, really eclectic collection there. So universally, this evening, Annick Minardo has got a hot. Now.
Free.
Free.
Yeah, so free? Yeah,
free. That was free.
Free. Okay. I don't know. I'm not down with the kids. I'm British. Anyway, let's go to a certainly. I try. Anyway, everybody should know who this is. If you don't know who this is, I'm afraid that you do not know fragrances. This perfumier is called Francis Kurkdjian. He has done quite a lot in his illustrious career. He is, of course, perfumier the original La Malle. He has his own line, the Maison Francis Kurkdjian line. And I'm going to actually start again with Steven, because, of course, he did Eau Noire by Christian Dior. And I know that you've got a lot to say. So, listen, I know you love that fragrance, but if you could speak objectively, is Francis Kurkdjian as a perfumier hot or not?
I'm going to have to go with hot again. I really do like his work, and I think he's made some really classic yet contemporary fragrances. Fragrances, by that I mean, are still being worn today. Something along the lines of La Malle. I know he's also produced some fragrances that people are not that crazy about, Mr. Burberry being one of them. But I had the pleasure of meeting him more than once. I've attended a master class that he hosted, and I even interviewed him on my YouTube channel with Carlos, and he was really, really down to earth, and the guy is incredibly talented. I mean, when you think of fragrances like Grand Soir, personally for me, Absolute Pour Le Soir is one of my favorites, and Baccarat Rouge is just, it's so hard to give the guy a nod. So I'm going to say he's hot. I really like his stuff.
Right, so we're getting a lot of love straight off the bat for Francis. Manny, what's going on?
I'm unpopular opinion. I'm gonna say not. Francis Kurkdjian does a lot of great, like, bridging the gap kind of stuff, as far as like very classic smelling things from like when he first started, like like when he was in his teenage years and in his 20s. He's still doing that now, but with a little bit more contemporary vibe. But when he does straight up contemporary stuff, like being the in-house perfumer at Burberry now, it's like I haven't smelled anything I liked, like for real. And as far as like Maison Francis Kurkdjian itself, like, I mean, like, he's a talented dude. He does cool stuff. Like, I know there's a call following behind, like, you know, Oud Satin Mood, Baccarat Rouge 540, Grand Soir to a certain extent. It just, I'm like, when I smell this, like, for whatever reason, I just couldn't help but think, like, I'd rather wear, you know, Guerlain at this point, or an Amouage or something like that. He's definitely, he's definitely, you know, like someone who likes to reinvent himself as far as his own house per se, and I think that's cool, and I respect that. It's just I haven't fallen in love with anything, and it's not to say he's a bad perfumer. He's probably top 10 all time on anyone's list, and objectively speaking, mine too. But as far as what I personally love from what he's done, I can't say hot. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. Well, pretty half and half. Very polarizing. I'm
just saying, the Burberry stuff he's done, trash. And that's not being like nasty. I think it's just it hasn't been named one hot scent that he's done since he took over there.
Well, I'm sorry to, you know, if that offends any of the Burberry heads, all two of them. Anyway, over to anyway, over to my good friend Ashton. Francis Kurkdjian, hot or not?
Thank you, George, for that introduction.
Sorry, darling.
So I'm going to give him a hot. I'm going to hit him with the hot. So he's got some classics on there, of course. Le Male, and he's still hitting people with the Ultra Male, which was a big hit. Everybody seemed to really enjoy that big club fragrance. My wife loves it. If you
say so.
My wife loves it. I'm just saying, if you're going after compliments, that's one of the better ones. Now, Mr. Burberry Eau de Parfum, I don't like that. I think it sucks. Mr. Burberry Eau de Toilette, I don't think it's trash for the price that you pay for it, for what it's going to accomplish for people that are looking for just a versatile fragrance, that are maybe not hardcore into fragrances, that haven't smelled as much as all of us collectively have smelled. Like 21-year-old me would rock Mr. Burberry Eau de Toilette and get compliments and be like, wow, this is a fantastic effing fragrance for $30, because that's about what it goes for nowadays. So I can't hate on him for that, because for the price and for who that's targeting, it gets the job done. And I'm not saying it's as good as like Dylan Blue or anything like that accomplishes the same stuff, but it's not trash for that sect of people. I haven't smelled any very exclusive line or whatever it's officially called, so I can't talk about those. But overall, I'm going to give him a hot. And I do like Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I have bottles from his house, so if I have that many and I'm wearing them on occasion, I don't think that I can rightfully say that it's on my end.
Okay.
But I understand completely what Manny said, and I don't disagree from his point of view. It's just that's how I view everything.
Right then. So again, polarizing. With Francis Kurkdjian, he is definitely a perfumier that incites a very passionate discussion, which is good. So Timmy, what's going on?
For me, like I have the pleasure of working with the Thai fragrance community, and I know the type of niche fragrances that they love. And actually, the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian is the most popular house along, like I would say, even more popular than Creed itself in Thailand. Mainly because he have a lot of fresh fragrances that works in that region of the world very, very well. You know, a lot of people just love his work for that. And I'm scrolling through the list right now, and I do like a lot of his stuff, like the stuff he released, like Narciso Rodriguez for her and for him, both really good. Oud Satin Mood is actually one of my favorite. I like my favorite from his line. And all of his fresher ones, although I'm not a fresh guy, I still like. I don't see anything wrong with a lot of them. Granted, there are some that he does poorly. Cancel World being one of the more failed ones for women. Yeah. The bottles and the commercials were awesome. Just the fragrance wasn't all that awesome. Ultramal and Lamal, you can't knock those two whatsoever.
Oh, I can.
They're successful. That's the UK thing. I'm gonna dismiss that. And I don't know. Like for me, even though there have been a lot of failed, I would say Hot, because you know, I think he's just commissioned by so many different houses that he can't really focus on one project and make it good. If he sits down and actually focus on something, I feel like he makes something amazing. So I'm gonna give him a Hot, benefit of the doubt for now.
Okay. So sorry, what was that last? So it's
hot.
It's hot. Okay. So I didn't know about that about the Asian market. Really interesting. I'm seeing the broad walk here saying that it does outsell Creed. Yeah, I really do like Francis, but I find him to be, to me personally, I can find him to be a bit like a one-hit wonder with certain things. Like he'll do Lamal, and then in my opinion, he hasn't done any good. Well, apart from Fleur de Mal, that's the only flanker that I really accept. And I have two of his Francis Kurkdjian fragrances. I have Oud Satin Mood and what's the other one? The
Aqua Universality
since summer. Jesus, how do you know that and I don't? How do you know what fragrances he has and I don't? That's ridiculous. Yeah, Aqua Universalis 4. Yeah, and I really like that. But I think I'm gonna give him a Hot. But at the same time, he has got his. I think he's overhyped. That's my honest.
I think he's overworked. Truth. Like I know he's one of those.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he pumps stuff out. Yeah,
he's one of those guys who like other perfumers, he's not the only one in this boat. Like, but these guys literally have hundreds of creations. But he's one of those guys who are like less reluctant to not commission them out. He'll always be like, yeah, sure, whatever. Burberry wants X amount of these, I'll do it. Or here, this is what would fit. I feel like he's taking a piss with most of them, but the ones he clearly gives a shit about are cool. I just think that there's so much whackness that outweighs his good stuff.
Right, I get you. No, it's an interesting point. And speaking of Manny, wow, what a great segue. Speaking of Manny, Jesus, I'm the best host. Anyway, let's go for Jerome Epinette. So this perfumier is an interesting one. He's done Artilier's Santal Carmine, Frappan's The Orchid Man, and one of my favorite fragrances of all time, along with Manny, Byredo's Bal d'Afrique, or as Manny would call it, Bay d'Afrique. Manny, I'm totally happy for you to start. Jerome Epinette, Hot or not?
So you missed a big one. In Gypsy Water, of course, he did that as well.
Did he do that as well?
Yeah.
He did both?
Yes.
Jeez.
I'm sure of it. I'm certain. I know Fragrantica does not have that updated, but I know he did both, including the EDC concentration of Gypsy Water.
Yeah. Fragrantica doesn't have any nose listed.
Yeah, I mean, Fragrantica is actually really, really like. I mean, the database is so big they can't like. They don't update as often as they should.
Okay, right.
Jerome Epinette, definitely hot. I think what he's doing lately as far as like a modern minimalist yet, what's it called? Like modern minimalist, but his scents still take me through a journey, which I found really profound. Like Bal d'Afrique, I can definitely see the essence of Afrocentric Paris that he was trying to capture for Ben Gorham of Byredo. Gypsy Water is definitely like that, like basically like it's to pay homage to nomadic lifestyle. So the scent takes you on X amount of journeys, which I think is cool. When you get from opening to heart to base, and then of course he was able to replicate some of that success in the less watery or the less aquatic stuff for Atelier Cologne now, which he's doing a lot of work with as well. So based on that stuff alone, I think he's lovely. He also cloned one of his fragrances for Zara Home. He cloned Bal d'Afrique, so a clone of a clone, because Bal d'Afrique is kind of like a clone of Vetiver Tonka. And so there's Tonka Wood by Zara Home now, and that's also lovely too. But I've yet to smell the work he's done for Frappant, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. But for everything he's done with Atelier Cologne and Byredo, definitely hot. Yeah.
Apparently, Orchid Man by Frappant actually does smell very much like Apprentice.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, have you smelt it?
Yeah.
What's going on, Ashton? In fact, Ashton, let's move on to you because you have smelt that. So from your judgment, is he hot or not?
I'm gonna give him a hot. Of course, the Atelier fragrances. I'll throw out that hot just for Bradley since he's not here. So I'll put that in memory of Bradley, because I know he would have immediately jumped on that and given it a hot. It's a classic at this point. Orchid Man is fairly similar to Apprentice with crap performance. So it's kind of like all of Frappant's fragrances. They all have that issue. And the Wilhelm Perfumery fragrances that he's done, specifically Morning Chest, I don't own them, but I smelled a whole lot of those when I went to Chicago and checked in at Barney's, and they were actually really, really nice. And I would have purchased a couple, but at retail they're pretty pricey. I don't know if you can really find those discounted, but regardless, they smell really nice. So all those things taken into consideration, I will give him a hot.
My goodness. Well, getting a good amount of love here. My good friend Jerome. So let's move on to Stephen from Redolessence. What do you think about Jerome Epinette? Hot or not?
I'm going to say hot because I don't want Manny to stop being my friend. I think, look, personally, I really do like a lot of his fragrances. I've had the pleasure of reviewing some of his Atelier fragrances. I really like Camellia Intrepide, Cedra Atlas. I like Emerald Agar. A good friend, Evan, who works at Atelier, he actually sent me a bunch of these fragrances, and I have the pleasure of owning them now. And I do like Bal d'Afrique. I just think it's a little bit too light on my skin. But it definitely harkens back to what Manny said, that it's contemporary minimalism. And I think a lot of that minimalism is translated in the fact that it's not too overwhelming. And it's not one of these fragrances. In addition to, I know Manny also said that they don't have Gypsy Water on Fragrantica. They also don't have Vibrant Leather on Fragrantica. And I know he's done that one, which is another clone of Apprentice. So I'm not a huge fan of the clones because I would rather just go to, the original fragrance that sort of inspired it. But just looking at his repertoire, and I do own a Wilhelm Perfumery fragrance called Purple Fig, and it's awesome.
Purple Fig, yay!
So yeah, I'm gonna give him a hot. I like him.
And finally, Timmy.
That's 2 out of 3 weeks. Purple Fig was dropped.
I'm gonna go with what Steven is going for here. If I say not, then Bradley would probably unfriend me. Manny would probably unfriend me. So, but yeah, honestly, I do think he's a hot.
This just in, Timmy from Imagine Sense fired from Team Top 5.
Yeah,
it was good to have him.
He does do some good work for Atelier's Cologne. I like that. I like some of the Byredo stuff as well. But I'm mostly impressed by the Wilhelm Perfumery, like that I've had the pleasure of trying at Barney's New York. A lot of those ones are actually really, really good. My favorite being, I think, Morning Chest. I think that was one of my favorites.
That's one that smells a little bit like Apprentice, right?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit like Apprentice. I think it's different enough.
Numerous.
Yeah, I think
it's
it's different enough where it's not actually like Apprentice, but yeah, but I do like that one. Yeah, I'm gonna give him a hot. He's like, and the fact that he's still very modern, like he's still releasing stuff on the regular, he's still active. I like that a lot too. So I'm gonna give that a hot.
Yeah, so he's also like fairly young too, you know, like as far as getting his feet wet into this. And I like how he's since moved on into like he lives in New York, by the way, now, which is interesting. So he's looking to expand his like repertoire, which I think
Steven, we're looking for an interview video with him soon.
Carlos, probably.
Carlos, yeah, Carlos interviews everyone.
So I'm going to be a bit controversial, and I'm going to say not for
George just disconnected, guys. Sorry.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give my reasoning, and I'm going to say not, but not yet. He's really, you heard me. I think that he's really mathematical and scientific in his kind of approach, and I really do love Bal d'Afrique. But the other stuff that I've smelt, like I find Gypsy Water to be good, but I just kind of think that it's kind of more of the same. And I've smelt, what was it that he did? I've smelt the other one, the Vetiver Tonka. I got a 10 ml decant of that, and I thought, yeah, it's pretty much, there's a repetition that I don't like, and I think that he's
to it.
Yeah, and if we're gonna talk about repetition and stuff like that, that is something. I think that Bal d'Afrique is fantastic, and he's obviously got talent, but I don't really like any of the Arteliers at all. And I'm just not feeling it right now. But he's very, very young for a perfumier. He's really young.
He has the highest ceiling out of anyone we've mentioned, as it stands right now.
Right, so he's got a lot of stuff to go for, and so I'm going to give him a not right now, but I know that he will prove me wrong in many years to come. So you are watching Team Top 5, the greatest fragrance-related stream in the visible universe. I just spoke to Richard Dawkins, and he did confirm that. And so we're going to be moving on. Yeah, shout-outs to Richard Dawkins and Science. Anyway, so we're going to be moving on, but after this section that's coming up, we're going to be taking your questions. So if people could just give a few questions in the chat, and if somebody could correlate them for after this section. So we're going to be talking about, really quickly, a little subject matter, and that is price of fragrances. We're going to be discussing price points. Is there a real need for fragrances to be at the sometimes extortionate prices that they are, or are some companies just using them as marketing gimmicks to make people think that their value is higher because their price is higher? I want to give a shout out to, even though it is unfortunately discontinued in America, Eau de Michons, which is a fragrance that I reviewed very recently. You can get that for £30 here in the UK for something like 250 milliliter. To me, it's a fragrance that could easily be evaluated at £200 because of its quality. So does price matter, is what I'm saying. Is a fragrance that is extraordinarily highly priced, is that usually mean that it's higher in quality and vis-a-vis with lower price fragrance? Start us off with Manny. What do you think about price points with fragrance?
I'm a huge stickler on price points personally. Despite like having expensive taste, it's more like about I'm just willing to pay for the creativity or what speaks to me the most more often than not. Evaluation is it's tough, but when you think about it, like if you take a look at like the designer level offerings, as far as the perfume oil percentage that they're allowed to use lately due to IFRA regulations and the actual ingredients they're allowed to use and stuff like that, they've been pricing stuff at 100 ml presentations for around $1 per ml or under, for however long, and they haven't, and they've been the worst lately. You know what I'm saying? So that to me is unacceptable. So like to a certain extent, you are paying for what you get when you do go up in price point, but sometimes when you go like above the mid-level niche, like when you go to like, for example, some creeds, for example, and you look at the US MSRP for that stuff, you're like, how is this, acceptable? And then you realize when it comes to the evaluation that people are getting this for in Europe, you can't possibly think that the price is justified in the US based on, tariffs and customs to get it over here. Like a lot of that, I feel like, as far as here in North America, is smoke and mirrors to appeal more to the 1%ers in this area. I'm dead serious. In comparison to like in the EU or in the UK, where it seems more, passable, to just wear this stuff. Probably because they're not trying to create a fake facade as far as price point or as much as it is here. Like, for example, a 120 ml in my country is 528 Canadian dollars for Creed Apprentice. That's ridiculous, and my dollar is not that much worth, like more off than in the US. So it goes both ways. Like right now for designers, it's really bad because the creativity is zapped. They're using less perfume oil lately. The ingredients haven't been too hot, and it's still around the same price. And even just a few years back, dollar-wise, inflation hasn't happened to the point where they should have just zapped the life out of some of our favorite fragrances, like the La Nuit de l'Homme and stuff like that. So it really depends. I feel like that's part of why I go after or pursue a lot of mid-level niche offerings that, Timmy knows I do, the Byredos, the Heelys and stuff like that. So it really depends. But once you get up there and once you're at a lower level is where it's most telling, where price is a mother effer. Yeah.
Well, at this point, it's interesting because what Manny said is that certain places and certain countries will change their price points maybe to suit, for strategy. And I wanted to bring up at this point that over here in the UK, I can buy Creed Viking, full retail, 100 ml, for £255.
Yeah,
that is $333.
You can almost buy two bottles.
That's 333. If you compare 333
in the US
dollars, right? Yeah, that is something to really think about. Timmy, what do you think about price points and all that good stuff?
Price definitely does not mean quality, like most of the time. I do feel like when it comes to, there's a different territory when it does come to natural fragrances, though. Natural fragrances, natural. Yeah, like I have to, because there are the natural genre out there where natural fragrances, the ingredients do cost a lot more, and it depends on your taste if you think naturals are more quality or not. And the word quality is also subjective. Quality to me might mean like more natural, like not so harsh smelling, but quality for the general public could mean it performs better. Quality is a really subjective word. But for me, price does not mean quality. You can definitely get a great fragrance for like $30, $20 as well. It really depends on quality. Quality is subjective to what you like. So definitely does not mean the price will get you the better fragrance. No.
Right. So good points from the Asian persuasion, which is Timmy and Manny. Let's move on to
Asian persuasions.
the Asian persuasion. I think that you, Manny, and the Broadwalk should form a sort of a stable called the Asian Persuasion.
The Asian fragrance live stream. We talked about Asian fragrances, nothing else.
Yeah, no, I'd watch that. I'd totally watch that. Hashtag click. Anyway, moving on to Ashton from Gents. But can I just say very quickly that we are going to be answering your questions very soon. So if we can get those questions in that comment section, that will be all good. So Ashton, price points for fragrances. What's going on?
Not much, hanging out. But as far
as Stephen.
So yeah, it is dependent on the house. I feel like some prices are kind of agreed, especially when you're talking about MSRP, especially in the United States. Those prices are, you know, they're just for, like Manny said, the 1%. People that can blow $400 or $500 and not even give an F to look for decent deals. Apprentice because I'm rich. Yeah. F you. So
pretty much.
Yeah, I mean those are gimmicky, and I don't get into that. I'll never pay.
Come to Garçon sweater because I'm rich.
Oh no, let's not do
this. Yeah, God. Those prices are whack. I mean, I think they're janky. I mean, they're obviously still making money. The gray market bottles pop up everywhere, and the prices overseas are half what they are here. Just as an example, somebody just asked, what are the prices in Europe? So in France, you can get a 100 ml brand new Apprentice for 160 euros. You can do that translation if you want to dollars, but that's what the pricing is over there.
Cheap.
So letting you know how much we're getting screwed here for retail. But yeah, I don't get down with any of those prices. And I never will. I think that a lot of it is just to try to seem elite or elitist, like Clive Christian fragrances. Like they smell nice. You can tell there's a certain amount of quality there, but do they smell, you know, whatever, $500, $600, $700 nice for a 50 ml bottle? No, absolutely not. Yeah, no, not even close. And realistically, for 95% of people, fragrances that are released by Dior, Chanel, and all these houses are going to get everything done just as well. And it is what it is. A lot of it is, like I've said like 12 times now, just trying to look like you're better than other people. If you pay retail for that stuff, it's just so somebody comes over and sees that bottle and you can be like, yo, you know how much this cologne costs? That's So yeah. I don't like any of that personally.
And shouts to Manny.
Actually, like before you get on that, because I'm a huge stickler for listing MSRPs as official value, because like that's what you're getting it at, or that's what they're actually evaluating it.
Yeah, that's what they're asking for.
But here's the thing. I'll do this from now on my videos now, because like Ashton just gave me an epiphany, and that's if they're listing an MSRP in like my country, for example, but the brand actually originates from like France or UK, or I'll list that MSRP from now on. I think that makes sense. That's a way more accurate representation of how much they actually value it, especially if it's actually made from there and or if it originates from there. So like, you know, I really should look into just using, you know, the EU prices now rather than what Creed Boutique USA is, for sure. I mean, I need to take a mental note because that makes so much sense actually.
I know they no longer have this, but Green Irish Tweed 120 ml brand new, 133 euros. I mean, kind of ridiculous compared to what they're asking for here.
The price we're paying here, like the discounted price we're paying here, is actually like close to the retail price that's actually costs.
Yeah, sometimes more depending on what we're talking about.
It's funny because I have so many EU friends, and they go to like niche shops like the actual store for Ashleavenduft and places like that, and they'd tell me that Creed is actually one of the cheaper brands there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Which is bizarre.
And like,
yeah, I mean, Healy is like 100 euros or under a lot of times.
Like
we're moving to Europe, guys. We're not staying in the US no more.
Yeah, for real.
Basically, hey guys, I'll buy you a pint. I'll buy you a pint if you come over. Don't worry about it.
Stay at George's house for free.
Nice.
Yeah, that's not happening. Anyway, so over to Stephen from Redolessence about price points and things like that. yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, price does matter. If it's somebody like us who actually invest the time and the resources to educating ourselves about fragrances and how they come about and the various methods of extraction, we understand that it's a pretty tedious and laborious process, and there's a lot involved. I mean, the average fragrance takes anywhere between 6 months and 2 years to hit the market. So we know that there are a lot of resources going out to advertising and paying for the perfumer and maybe giving freebies to influencers. But I think that to the casual consumer, the price is definitely going to matter. But from a brand's perspective, they also want to establish perceived value. So if they put something on the market, say it costs $10 to manufacture, and they sell it for $50, then people are going to look at it and say, oh, that looks cheap, right? But if you sell something for $200, and I think we're seeing that a lot more as the time, the years go on, is that you'll see a brand new brand will surface, and they will just, I guess, for a lot of people, pompously or arrogantly sell their fragrances for $500. And it's like, well, come and smell it, check it out, and you'll see that it's worth it. And I really like what Timmy said, and I have to co-sign that it's kind of ambivalent when you're talking about quality, because for some people, quality is putting out an extrait de parfum, and hey, spray this on, it's going to last you all day. But for some other people, it's about utilizing natural ingredients. I know House of Matriarch is kind of notorious for utilizing natural ingredients. But truth be told, there are a lot of niche brands where, they have such a, pretty constructed narrative about how long they've been around and how much of an influence they've had in all these different countries and the royalty that they've served. And don't get me wrong, I think their fragrances are incredible, but at the end of the day, they don't utilize all natural ingredients. I mean, anybody can reverse engineer it, and you'll see that a lot of the ingredients contained therein are actually of a synthetic nature. Even if you listen to somebody like Chandler Burr, he will tell you that, fragrances are art, and art imitates reality. Therefore, synthetics are to be considered more so art than natural ingredients would be. So I don't know. I think it's a pretty interesting argument here, but price definitely does matter. I just don't like to see a fragrance that comes out and it sells for 150, and then 2 years later it sells for 300. And it's like, what happened? Like, did you guys improve the formula? Are you using better ingredients? Like, but hey, that's inflation for you. And yeah, it is elitist, right?
I definitely do agree with the argument for synthetics as well. As someone who is a big proponent of very synthetic, perfumey style of old, the Chanel's and the Tiffany fragrances of back then, I definitely do find them artistic in that sort of way, So for certain people to, maybe hold natural ingredients more in higher regard, like that's one thing, that's one way to look at it as well. If that's what you're into, if that's what appeals to you, that's also cool. But that's what beautiful about fragrances is that you could, look at it one way like that or another way, synthetic and natural. It's not, both of them aren't bad, I think the stigma with synthetic, though, when people attack synthetic for not being artistic, is that they're attacking it as far as what they know it's actually worth, rather than how it's being used. Because if you're buying into something that's synthetic and artistic, you're buying into its creativity at the end of the day, rather than its what it's actually worth. So if you're a stickler on ingredients, as far as natural ingredients, I get where you're coming from, but you have to be honest with yourself in this way, that they are actually they're trying to channel something, and maybe they have to use synthetic ingredients, and that's just their style.
I think the person who'd be really perfect for this argument would be Peter from Fragrance View, since he actually also makes perfumes. I watched some of his videos that he's talked about this very topic right here, that when he smells some certain fragrances, he can smell the ingredients. He knows the synthetic that goes into it, and with that he could tell that how much it actually the ingredients cost to make it. And for him, when he sees a synthetic that doesn't cost a lot at all is in a fragrance that costs $200-300, it feels like it doesn't make any sense when the ingredients are so cheap. And it feels and he said something along the line of some ingredients are, some of the fragrances uses very few ingredients, very few synthetics. And yeah, but when it comes to synthetics prices, like Manny said, that some perfumes, some fragrances are he would describe as lazy, very lazy, as in they use just base synthetics that are just pre-made. They're very cheap, but they're pricey, and they're just adding a few different top notes onto it and naming it a new fragrance that costs $200-300. And
that's definitely true as well. Yeah, I mean, as far as a lot of the, you know, for example, like a lot of you know, women's designer offerings, you know, have a lot of the similar, you know, feminine vanilla dry downs, for example. You know, it's just like, oh well, I feel like I've smelled X amount of these black opium flanker knockoffs elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? So I get that, and a lot of, you know, mid-level niche offerings will do the same thing too. So I totally get that for sure.
Okay, so has everybody answered that question or answered that sort of? Well, I'm going to kind of give my 2 cents on it, and that is, you know, being a fragrance reviewer, you've got to be careful with prices and things like that and all that. And you know, I believe that there's a trust factor with pricing. I trust Creed. I trust that they have got good intentions and natural ingredients and things like that. But at the end of the day, you know, save your money. There's a lot of other things that can be constructive that you could purchase, you know, in your life, like subscribers. Anyway, moving on to some questions. Let's go to Wongaloid Wong. And this,
I'll be right back. 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
No problem.
Carry on.
Wongaloid Wong asks, is Tom Ford Oud Wood a suit-only fragrance?
Hell no. Hell no.
Hell no. Okay, so Manny, yes, answer that. Come on.
Tom Ford's Oud Wood, at least for me, the way I perceive it, as like, you know, very transition season like, you know, as far as wearing it with like, you know, jeans and, you know, a casual jacket, I could do that with too. I could obviously, you know, suit it up if I'd like. It's a very safe and versatile oud, as how I like to describe it, which is why it's the best-selling Tom Ford fragrance, period. You know, typically speaking. So that is what I perceive Oud Wood as. You know, it's a signature scent, especially for someone like me, as far as where I live. You know, someone can get away with wearing Oud Wood, you know, for like 90% of the year here. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on how. At the end of the day, it depends on how you perceive it. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, you know, that you can't wear this here. You have to think of that, what that person does for a living. You have to think of where they're from, you know, what their customs are like. You know, that's what beautiful about fragrances is that, again, we all have different point of views. And I really think that, you know, despite being X amount of reviewers or gurus on YouTube and stuff like that, kind of how I feel, you know, when it comes to some of this. You'll know if it's, you know, for you, formally or whatnot. You know, give it a whirl. Give it a shot.
Yeah. So Ashton,
What was the question?
is Oud Wood just purely a suit and tie fragrance?
No, I don't think so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you should wear whatever you want to wear, and I've worn that to the office numerous times. It worked well. It's just however you rock it, you know. If you wear it and you feel self-conscious, then it's not going to work. If you wear it and you think I smell great, it's going to work. So.
I smell great.
Hey, I don't know. I pull that off. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist, right?
Yeah,
so, yeah, I think Oud Wood is fine. I've worn that numerous times without a suit and tie.
Right, so I'm just memeing out to Tyler here. I hope you don't mind. But yeah, so Stephen, Oud Wood, is that just a purely suit and tie based fragrance?
I mean, personally, I like to wear that fragrance dressed up, but I don't think it's a suit and tie fragrance exclusively. I think you should always wear what fragrance you're in the mood to wear, especially a lot of the time. I know we make classifications on various fragrances depending on the time of the year that you're wearing it in. But you know, at the end of the day, as long as you're indoors and it's a climate-controlled environment, you can wear it whenever you want, whatever time of the year it is, whatever the occasion is, as long as you're light on the trigger. Of course, I wouldn't recommend spraying 30 sprays or 10 sprays or whatever other than bright department fragrance. But no, I don't think it's an exclusively Suit and Tie fragrance. I think it's a great fragrance, and I do think it's signature scent worthy.
Yeah.
Oud wood.
Oud wood. So, Imagine Scents.
I'm very notorious for wearing my fragrances just whenever. Like Mitza in the summertime.
We have noticed. We have noticed.
Like a boss.
Oud sad mood, just cause, and even though it's hot, and like to me, like Steven said, if you're indoor in a climate controlled environment, all fragrances is an all year fragrance, really. Like if like in the office, there's no such thing as like a winter or like a summer office fragrance if you work indoors. It's the same thing. So like Oud wood, I wear, like I do see it more as a dress up fragrance. If I was to actually categorize it, I think the reason like we as reviewer categorize things is to make it easier for people to actually like kind of think or imagine the fragrance inside of in their mind, because fragrances as a scent is really hard to describe. So we need something to grab onto to really push that vibe across. And like giving it a category, giving it a picture, a person, an event to go with it is just the easy way to do it. But when it boils down to it, like a fragrance like Oud wood, like Steven said, is a signature scent. Like I can wear it anytime I want. Really, I can wear it to KFC if I want to. Shout out to Lex Alice. I can wear it pretty much any time. So yeah, like no, it's not an exclusively formal scent at all. But I know the person who started that trend too. Hashtag spin. Jeremy spins.
Hashtag Jeremy spins.
Jeremy spins.
He's the one
with his head. Jeremy, hashtag Jeremy spinning boy. Hashtag hurricane boys. There you go. Hurricane boys. So my thoughts on it is that that sounds like Harpo Marx from the Marx Brothers right there. Anyway, so I think that Oud wood, one of my favorite fragrances, but I actually think it's really casual. Actually, I think that as Dave and Jeremy once said, the weirder something is, the more formal it is, and I don't think that Oud wood is too weird, and I've enjoyed just kind of wearing it casually. Although, if I'm honest, I think that for me, I think that I'll gain confidence wearing it the older that I get. I know that it has my back when I'm in my 40s. You know, Oud wood, if it's not reformulated to death by that point. My illegitimate son, TM Sense, asks, I'm thinking of pulling the trigger on... Oh, wait, no, not that one. Not that one. Is... God, there's too many Boss Bottled memes here now. Is Boss Bottled Oud the best Boss Bottled? I know that, right, TripleInc's answer is yes, even though he's not here. But Ashton, have you smelt Boss Bottled Oud, and do you think it's the best one out of the line?
Yeah, I reviewed that one, what, like a week ago? So I'm trying to think right now. Yeah, I'd say that's probably the best one. If I was going to pick one to keep and have to get rid of all the other ones, I would pick that one.
Yep. Manny, I'm looking forward to your unexcited answer. What is your thoughts? It's not me. It's not me.
I think it's Steven. It's
Steven!
Yeah, whenever like the feedback comes up, like your face comes up.
What happened? I didn't do anything.
Pointing fingers.
I think that's better. Yeah. So Manny, Boss Bottled is the best Boss Bottled.
I hear you echoing, by the way. But it's okay.
We're in a cave, Manny.
For me, I think Boss Bottled is the best.
Yeah.
You know, as far as like nostalgia factor towards it. As far as the
that is ridiculous. I cannot even hear Manny at this point. Steven, I'm so sorry, darling. I know that we love you, but it does seem to be you on the thing. Could you I don't know what's going on.
I know what it has to do and I'll fix it.
I think. Steven, try reattaching the headphones, and then put it back in. Hello.
Yeah. Good.
I think so. Okay. Hashtag Echo Boys.
I think that's better. I think that's better now.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so Manny, sorry, continue with your answer there.
Continue with my answer.
Yeah.
To be honest, I haven't given enough of them a fair shot. I barely touched tonic, for example. Boss bottled oud, which Ashton reviewed recently. Like I haven't, like I've smelled it off card. It's just like it's a line that I just haven't been too interested with, mainly because maybe it's nostalgia, but a part of me feels like it peaked when it first came out. Or maybe it was just so overdone in the area I was in that I was really not interested to check out everything else that they had, because it's a very popular fragrance where I come from. So, yeah,
that's cool. I'm sorry to hear that. So, Stephen, I hope you're all okay there, and the aliens have returned you. Yeah, Boss Bottled Oud, is that the best Boss Bottled ever? Sounds like a tongue twister.
I think it is. They're all pretty good. The intense version was really good too. But like Ashton said, I think if you were to get rid of one of them, I think the one that you could stick around with is probably the oud version. Plus, I like that the oud is not too noticeable. It's pretty tame. I mean, it's in there, but I think it's a good scent.
Okay,
Steven on my side. That makes me the winner.
Yeah. So we've got two people there saying that it's basically it is the best. Timmy,
never tried it. Don't know. Pass.
I love it. To the point. I think that it's. I think I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that Boss Bottled Oud is not just the best Boss Bottled out there. I'm going to say that it's actually the best oud designer fragrance ever. Ooh. I've smelled so many damn oud flankers, and I've mentioned this a million times, and I'm going to mention this one last time for you live. Boss Bottled Oud is one of the only fragrances that utilizes oud with the original composition of the fragrance that it's a flanker to. Versace Oud Noir just smells like oud wood, like a powdery, sugary oud wood. It has nothing to do with the original Versace Man or
it's an actual
the fact that it's an actual flanker, a real one, and the fact that they made oud work with green apple and cinnamon note is a work of great simplicity, but a true work of art. It smells like a beautiful apple pie. So in answer to your question, Tyler, if you're still there, yes, oud wood. 3 out of 2 people say that it is the best Boss Bottled out there. So let's see if we can get some other questions going on here, and then we're going to move on to a new section. Anybody seen any questions going on? I saw a question saying, what are the top MILF gang fragrances, but I don't feel as though that's a good
Wait, why can't we answer that? Because Tim knows, I like stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, in one answer, what is your top MILF gang fragrance on Team Top 5 Live?
I like Steven's reaction to it.
Let's go with
ask first.
Ashton first.
Why do I have to go first? So the question is. So you're out in the club, right? Yeah.
And there is a wild MILF appears.
A cougar.
And you have your whole fragrance collection going for you. And what do you pick?
Oh God. Dracar Noir. I hit myself with 12 sprays of Dracar Noir. I go up and I'm like, "What's up, girl?" And it takes her back to when she's young and wild, and she's like, "Oh my God, is that Dracar?" And then I'm in like Flynn. I bring her back to when she was young and make her young again with Dracar Noir.
Oh.
We're adding that to the greatest hits of Team Top 5 2017.
We're doing actually like the Team Top 5 quotes of the year.
Oh God. I don't know if we can even top that as an answer. Oh man.
Reverse with that answer.
Okay. So what up, go? Right. So Timmy, you're at an Asian bar. And, you're an Asian bar in Thailand. And there's, because Asians don't age, so she probably looks like the same age as anything. But there is a beautiful Asian cougar. That's no, like for real, it's legit. Listen, look at this white face. This white face. When I'm like 40, I'm gonna look as though I'm about 200 years old. It makes me very sad. I'm already going that way. Anyway, Timmy, come on, what's going on? You've got a lovely lady here who is of a certain age. What do you wear?
Not a lot of people know this, but I actually dated someone who's 35 before. But I didn't know at the time, like, I thought she was 25 because, like George said, Asians don't age at all. Like, so I thought she was 25, legitimately. I didn't know. But I think, like, what works, like, since I have experience, I think what works is that you wear young smelling stuff. Because they're obviously cougars. They're looking for younger guys. They don't want to smell anything too old school. So they like to smell something youthful. And that time I was 19, I was actually wearing Halloween Man. So yeah, actually that was the magic of that fragrance. I don't need to explain.
Yeah.
It is one of my most complimented fragrances of all time. It becomes like my lifetime of wearing fragrances.
Yeah. Okay. Manny, let's get
something
this over
youthful.
And done with. Something youthful. Manny, let's get this over and done with. Come on.
Okay, so what am I reaching for? Yeah, so this is good Lord, for me, to be honest. Like, seeing as like this is kind of happening with me currently, if you know what I'm saying, like Tim knows.
It's all coming out. It's all coming out. Team Top 5 exposed.
But
we're,
yeah,
we're deleting the stream, by the way, guys. It's not staying live.
Yeah,
be the Team Top 5 missing stream.
I didn't.
The lost episode. God, man.
I didn't specify this in my most complimented video, but my #1 most complimented this year was Sacred Wood by Killian.
Mm-hmm.
Part of why that is because of the demographic we're talking about right now. Let's just say it.
I do like them. They look like them woody fragrances.
Yeah.
Right. So, do you have a scent?
Yeah, the Sacred Wood, George.
Sacred Wood.
Sacred
I'm sorry. I'm Sacred Morning. Sacred Wood. Sacred Morning.
Sacred Morning Wood.
Stephen. Exactly. Stephen, I'm so sorry to do this to you. You have to understand that. I was peer pressured into this. Come on.
Listen, where do I start? You know, there's Aramis, there's Austin Deepwood, there's Polo Green, there's Zeno by Davidoff, there's Water, there's Dracar Noir.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna go with Antaeus.
Antaeus.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, but with that, guys, I really do apologize. I was supposed to get off at 8. Baby has to go to sleep. And I think Carlos should be getting here any moment, and we're going to shoot some videos. So I want to thank you guys so much for having me on. I really do appreciate it. Sorry for the aliens. I'll make sure they don't come back next time. Love you guys. And
thank you
for having
so
me on.
much.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you so
Love
much
you all.
for staying on. Love you so much.
Absolutely. Have a great night, guys. Take care.
bro.
Yeah, peace.
Wait.
It's funny because like when he said aliens, I was gonna say Homeboy came back with the Illuminati, if you know what I'm saying.
That's great.
Illuminati confirmed.
Right, so Stephen obviously has many a MILF fragrance, and we wouldn't expect anything less. Anyway, so I don't know how much I'm prepared to share with you, but I went to Los Angeles this year. There was a wonderful, beautiful lady who was of a certain age.
Her name is called After Effects.
And her name is called After Effects. No,
George is a baller.
Yeah, she was beautiful, all in 64 bits per channel, but she did crash a lot. Anyway, no, wonderful lady. I was actually wearing Millésime Imperial, but that's because I just took that there. But if I'm honest, if I was trying to get a lady of a certain age, I would wear my original formulation of L'Instant de Guerlain Eau Extreme. Always good, always killing it. You know, Brad would just go for a Zaro Chrome because he doesn't know any better.
Oh, that's
12,
right.
And if he did that, then the woman would be up against sexual assault charges. Anyway, so moving on to there would be a court case. Show and what is that slapping?
Is that Timmy?
Tim,
What?
what are you doing? You do know we're live right now. What is that? Please stop. Anyway, so let's see. Show and tell, ladies and gentlemen, show and tell. And this is a section where we talk about a fragrance that's sort of on our mind at the moment that we want to give a bit of hype, a 2-minute sort of mini review, if you will. Let's go for Tim so that you can stop making that damn sound and actually get back to the screen. Could you give us a fragrance that you want to show the audience and give a small talk about? You know? Tim, come on.
Okay, just any fragrance, right? That I'd like to give a talk to about.
Yeah, something that you're wearing right now that you want to give a little shout out.
I like, man, there's so many. Okay, let's talk about this one. Pure Artisan Pure by John Ravados. This one is actually nice. Like it actually lasts like an all right amount of time. It's not bad, but it's just okay. Which okay in John Ravados standards is like the best John Ravados because none of them actually last at all. But this one actually lasts okay on me. It smells really nice, very gentlemanly clean citrus, and it's surprising that like I like it so much. I think it's because it has an equal vibe of old school classic mixed with like a modern creativity to it. I do like it a lot, and it's the only John Ravados that I own and that I felt compelled to buy. So that was my mini review of John Ravados.
Lovely, absolutely wonderful. We should all have a look at that. Manny from CASCADESCENTS. Give us something that we can...
Just to add on to that before I get on to my actual fragrance, Artisan Pure is so lovely. I think Varvatos has a brand that, you know, they have good people that they commission to make his fragrances. It's just, man, for whatever reason, I know a lot of them just don't last, you know, regardless of genre.
Pure parfum.
Yeah, so they need to step up their oil percentage, if anything, which is hopefully something they will do in the near future. But for any Varvatos release, I'm almost hyped to smell because they're I'm always going to like them. It's just, will it perform on me?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, like Sebastian knows everyone knows this about the Varvatos stuff. I think they would have a hell of a hype with the grassroots community if they lasted, like because like they're so good, you know. Let's see. For me, there's a fragrance here called let's see. Yeah, there she goes. Haven't talked about it much lately because I only got it recently, and Tim knows this. It's called Dragonfly by Zoologist Perfumes.
Nice.
So, it's a very realistic portrayal of where, you know, dragonflies actually, you know, flutter around, you know, as far as rice fields and stuff. It's very pretty smelling and super feminine. I know, like, the fragrance
I like it. I like it.
And like I low key get grilled for like liking stuff like this and wearing it, but it's like I smell this and like I just feel like you know, like I get absorbed into that storytelling, and it's a lot of fun for me. But besides the storytelling, it's actually quite wearable, especially on you know, a morning or afternoon sunny day. So I'm definitely a big fan of this. It actually dries down into rice as well, which is very fitting. So lovely stuff.
That's fantastic. Really good. And Ashton.
Okay. So this fragrance is called Black Tulip by Atelier Blome. I picked this up at Barney's, but this is legitimately the most hyper-realistic floral fragrance that I've ever smelled in my entire life. And by floral fragrance, I mean it smells exactly 100,000% like you walked into a florist shop and you smell all the different flowers that have been like sprayed with fresh water. 1,000% dead on what this smells like. Technically, it's a woman's fragrance, but I don't give an F. It smells fantastic. It's like picture realistic. It's really crazy. So it's you can't really see it in the video, I guess, but
Lovely.
yeah, Black Tulip by Atelier Blome.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And for me, I want to talk about this fragrance, and it's funny because we talked about black opium and female fragrances. I'm actually a real big fan of Dolce & Gabbana One for Her, but I don't own it, but I really like that sort of kind of DNA. But I found this. This is from Mancera. It's called Roses Vanille. And it does have a really sort of feminine kind of smell, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It's got this sort of watery kind of floral rose note, ambiguously with a really heavy dose of vanilla. It's quite wild actually in that way, very feminine, but it's caught me off guard. It is something different, and I am enjoying it actually. And it's a bit wild, bit weird, but I'd highly, highly recommend it. And it's one of my favorite things that Mancera's done. I'm not actually a big fan of them too much, but this one really is good. So we are coming to the end of our stream nearly, unfortunately. So we're going to be doing a final Q&A in a little while. We're going to be playing a little game called Scent the Occasion. I'm going to give everybody 5 bizarre kind of occasions, and you've got to decide what fragrance you would wear for that particular occasion. So we're going to start with, everybody knows what Michelin stars are, right? I'm not just talking to a wall here.
Yes.
Right, cool.
Gordon Ramsay style, brother.
That's right. Shout outs to Gordon Ramsay. Freaking raw. Anyway, going to a Michelin star restaurant on your second date. So you've already made it with a first date. She can be whatever age you want. Well, hopefully above the legal age. We're not Kevin Spacey over here. Anyway,
Yeah,
going to a Michelin star restaurant on your second date. I don't even know why I do this. What fragrance would you wear to that particular occasion? Let's start with Timmy.
I mean, my second date's already at my house, so like I'm just gonna estimate here what I might wear on a second. On a second date, to a Michelin star, that's pretty fancy. I would wear something. Honestly, I would just wear something like apple brandy, because I feel like that's a fun kind of like half upscale, half playful fragrance, and it actually smells extremely unique. And I think it's very special because of how unique it is. It fits that kind of like luxurious, okay, it's like second date kind of vibe very well. I wouldn't wear this on a first date just because it can be too strong, and you might not like on a first date. It might not be safe. But if you know your date likes fragrances already, like I feel like I would wear it.
Right. Lovely. So, Gents, I'm afraid that we cannot accept the answer Dracar Noir for a second time in a row.
Dracar Noir for the first date, second date.
Oh my God, Dracar Noir!
But
Yeah,
yeah,
you know how many guys across time and space Dracar Noir has gotten laid.
You want to hang out with me on the playground?
Numerous.
With my Dracar Noir?
Jeez.
Yeah. I smell really good, guys. I promise.
Right. So yeah, go for it, Ashton. Your second date from a Michelin star thing.
Yeah. Right. Yes. So a lot of you out there are going to know what this is because I'm always running my mouth about it. It's got Gucci Envy.
Wow, Gucci Envy.
Yeah, discontinued. Still smells so good. Classy, sexy, sophisticated, warm, spicy, sexual, sensual, opulent. It's all about
You went there.
Can we buy it on your discount website, Ashton?
Of course.
Now, is it really discontinued, or are you just saying that to get more sales?
Yeah, I'll never say. But you can't buy a 10 ml decant from me for $75. But yeah, Guccini. It smells good, man. I love it. I love Guccini.
George just died.
Okay.
We lost George.
Okay. Oh, you beautiful bastard.
Oh.
Right. Manny, please help. Manny, please help. Manny, let's go. Come on.
Okay, second date. To be honest, when it comes to this topic, because presuming that you may have ran into each other, post your first date. Like first date's official, as far as like if you get past that, maybe you meet up for like a coffee or something like that, but not like an all-out date. And maybe you have a better idea of what she may like. So like maybe in my case, recently, one that's getting me really positive feedback is Single Malt from By Killian.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come off as overly like, hey, you're an alcoholic, like apple brandy. It's common comparison, but also it's I feel like a little bit more subdued as far as the mood you're trying to convey, because malt can be interpreted as not just malt liquor, but like just something cozy at the end of the day, which I think is lovely. So I would personally say Single Malt. It's very comforting fragrance, especially if you're going in for a hug or kiss or something like that, which you obviously are going to when it's a second date.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, especially if the second date is successful and you're hitting it from behind, and she says Bleecker Street is discontinued. Anyway,
You're my soulmate, girl.
Anyway, so our second occasion is you're climbing Mount Everest with your boys, right? You're climbing Mount Everest with your boys. What fragrance would you wear?
Hold on. Before this, I told George before that George asked me what to name this stream. Before we started stream, I was jokingly saying we could name it Gone Sexual, but then the actual stream it's been going sexual since like the start of the stream.
It always ends up like somebody takes it that way.
Stephen is never returning to this stream. Like that is it. That's it. We've lost Stephen. Okay, so you're going to. I'm just ripping off Tyler now. So you're climbing Mount Everest, and you've cracked open a cold one with the boys. Manny, what would you wear for that?
I'm actually going to crack open a cold one, because I thought that is very evocative of the cold. Is SM Water by Creed, which is
I knew it. I was going to guess
mountaintops. With its bottle and everything, and with how it smells. So I'm gonna go with that. We got to crack one open for the boys. I would spray that once I reach the peak, and then all of a sudden, like I froze my face with soda mount water. You know what I'm saying?
So when we go hiking, Mount Everest, we should like also bring just a beer.
Mount Everest. Hey, what did Bradley take on his bike? That's what he would do.
Bradley can't take anything. Bradley just got to take a Red Bull and deal with it. Okay. So yeah, Ashton, you've cracked open a cold one with the boy. You actually have in this stream though. You've cracked open a cold one with the boys. And so like, what would you wear? You've climbed Mount Everest. You've got a cold one, and you're with the boys. What are you wearing?
Are you waiting on me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Timmy. Oh my God.
Ashton,
Awkward
Timmy,
silence.
it's not even the same. Come on, come on.
I know. I apologize, George.
Come on.
I'm sorry.
Come on, Ashton.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Should be.
Okay. Okay. This is a fairly good one, but not really. Okay. Ralph Lauren Polo Explorer. That's what. 100,000% just because the bottle says Polo Explorer. The fragrance itself is okay, but it's because I would wear it because it looks like a canteen, and I would be like, I'm a manly man for the first time in my life. Spray, spray, spray. Let's climb Mount Everest.
Yeah.
That's the way it would go.
No, I love it. Okay. Timmy, come on.
I'm gonna go with the most like copped out answer in the whole world. I'm gonna go with Creed Himalaya.
Oh, that's a good one.
Just the thing.
We did the same thing.
But just the idea of climbing up Mount Everest with like beers in your backpack, because that's probably the most necessary thing for you to survive Mount Everest. Oh God.
Dear God.
Yeah, I would smell Himalaya. I would space Himalaya because it's cold, it's chilly, and it's just like the mountain. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would.
These are all great choices.
These are all great choices. Fantastic. Yeah. What I do is because obviously, you know, you're going up, you'd have to pack a lot of provisions. I would of course pack cool water, you know, because I don't just want to have the beer. I want to have the cool water, you know. You know, so there we go. That's
of course.
now, yeah. Manny's face is like, this is not what I envisioned Team Top 5 to be. Where did it all go wrong? Okay, so you can join in the you can join in the comments for what fragrance you would have for this particular occasion. And my third occasion for you is your divorce hearing. You've decided that it's all over with the one are over.
Oh, this is an awkward question.
So so that MILF that you married is Manny stuck? What is going on? So the MILF that you married because of the fragrance that you picked earlier on in the stream, that's all gone, and you've decided to divorce her. So what fragrance would you wear for your divorce hearing? Let's start with Manny.
Yeah, this is easy. It's called Avignon by Comme des Garçons. So it's a very, you know, like polarizing scent that channels what a cathedral would smell like, you know, in Catholicism. So it's a very, you know, like get away from me type scent. So I don't see why that wouldn't be appropriate. You know, that would make a lot of sense.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Gents.
Wear a Ventus because you want to smell like the man. You want everyone to be jelly of how dope you smell. So you spray on Creed Ventus. You say, "Yo, look how dope I smell. Everybody loves me." Creed Ventus.
That's great.
I didn't curse.
That's good. Tim, what's going on?
This is the only time where I would wear Dior's leather oud. Because I want the people at the divorce hearing to be like, oh my God, he smells so terrible that I want this divorce hearing to end as soon as possible. Just sign them papers and get out.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Yep. So Dior's leather oud.
I'm thinking here. I would probably wear. I'd probably wear Mitza by Christian Dior because I know that. I'd probably wear Mitza because it's my most expensive fragrance that I have, and I would wear it for the final time before she took half of everything that I own.
Since I'm marrying a cougar, she probably owns more than me, so I'm taking a lot of her stuff.
That's true. That's true. I'm loving spray the B movie cologne on the barrel of a gun, pure wood, secretions magnifique. Maybe the cheapest one because you'll go. Yeah. Boss Bold X straight. Where are Ventus and the lawyers? Oh, I'm not reading that. And right. Yeah, there's a lot of good things there. A lot of good things. Yeah. So anyway, fourth scent occasion. I'm going to go and refill my drink here because this is getting out of hand. The fourth occasion is, and you can join in the comments, a meeting with your boss for a raise. So you've been hustling, you've been working super hard, you know that you're worth it. But, you know, the boss man, he don't really see eye to eye. He doesn't see the level of effort that you've put in. What fragrance would you wear to show to him that you mean something? I'm going to start off with Timmy very quickly. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. Go for it, Timmy.
Fragrance I'm wearing to my razor. That's meeting with your boss for a raise. I don't know. Like I want to give off a vibe that I work really hard. So I probably wouldn't even wear a fragrance. I'd probably just go to the gym, work out for a couple hours, get all sweaty, and like looks like I've actually been working hard. And then go to the interview.
Get a pump.
Make it look like
come in.
Make it look like I'm tired and like I'm exhausted of all the work I did. But if I was to pick a fragrance, I would go with something like Apprentice. So it's like masculine. I'm ready. I'm here. I get stuff done kind of fragrance. So I would wear the cop-out answer of Apprentice.
Word.
So with that said, I'm gonna go on to Manny.
For me, as far as we're talking, promotion, of course, to just approve that, I may or may not mean business, like, man, because I feel like anyone who I've worked under is either really for scent or really against it.
Yeah, because I wouldn't even wear a scent myself to those kind of events.
Yeah, me too.
I'm thinking, like, something I never got negative feedback with ever. I'd go with a scent called Amber Pour On by Prada. So it's a very vanillic, soapy, type scent. Very safe, very evocative of the workplace. Probably my all-time work scent if I had to pick one. So yeah, that.
Yes.
And Gents, have you answered?
No.
Right, we'll go for it, Gent.
So if I was going to answer this seriously, I would say probably not a fragrance. But if I was going to wear one, maybe something like Rive Gauche, really light, or
nice
Molecule 1, also really light. So you don't want something that's going to really be potentially offensive, because you know how a lot of offices and workplaces nowadays are fragrance free. So some people can get butthurt about that.
Yeah.
You don't want to hurt the butt.
No, you don't want to hurt the butt. I'm not going to make jokes. Anyway, hashtag Kevin Spacey. Anyway, so good to see Fragrance View on here. Hello, my dear boy, fellow Brit. It's lovely to see you. I would actually wear Aventus. I would show them who's boss by wearing Aventus.
Yeah, you stole my pick,
particular thing. Yeah, well, I wasn't here for that, was I?
No. You should have known. You know me.
So think on. Anyway, and final occasion. Again, please join in the comments. This is a very special one. Please scent your attempt of getting out of the friend zone. What fragrance would you wear to make that potential partner realize the error of their ways and realize that you are a suitor in a romantic and sexual way? So a fragrance, your number one fragrance to wear to get out.
Dracar Noir.
Yes. Let's start with Gent Sense. Hang on.
Okay, so this is a more serious answer. The one, Eau de Parfum, one of the most sexually, sensually opulent, sexually warm, opulent sexy, masculine fragrances that I've ever smelled in my life. Hit yourself with about 32 sprays of this. You're going to be projecting softly for hours to come, and your projection's not going to be the only thing that's coming when you wear.
Okay, we need to stop. We need to stop the stream. We need to end the stream. Manny, please, Manny, get us out of this filth.
Honestly, to be honest, like it's funny because the one for men, like even the eau de parfum version, is very reminiscent to like a lot of people like my age, my area, of when we were in high school or whatnot. It's the most popular scent in my city if there was one. So if I was maybe 10 years older and I wanted to, like Ashton said earlier about the Drakkar make someone feel young again, this would be the scent without a doubt. But we're in a circumstance now as far as like traveling and meeting with new people, and just to give someone that like super awesome impression that they might not have thought of me previously, I would probably have to say my most heavy compliment getter ever probably go with Big A itself, Apprentice. So Aventus for the win as far as getting you out of the friend zone. If Jack can't get you out of the friend zone, and
you're stuck there permanently,
there might be
man.
something wrong with you, is what I'm saying. And obviously I say that jokingly because fragrance is not gonna seal the deal for you. Actually, it might. It depends.
It depends.
It does. Tim, what's going on? How do you get out of the friend zone? Pick one fragrance.
Oh man, it's such getting out of the friend zone. Like I hate to have to pick. I hate to have to pick Apprentice for this. I feel like it is one of the best fragrances.
Oh man, go for it.
Yeah, like it's hard. It's hard to touch Apprentice when it comes to like just smelling. I'm a sexy man that you should be with right now. Yeah. Because I own a lot of sweet fragrances, and that's not the most masculine shit. I like sweet fragrances. So it has to be Apprentice.
Yeah. So okay, right. Well, mine would be Fève de Lisieux's very romantic fragrance. All of the absolutely wonderful, and that would be the choice that I would have. And a bonus one for everybody. What fragrance would you wear? You're in Subway and you're hungry and you're wanting to buy a sub, but you're very hungry, in fact, and you're wanting to buy several subs, even though you have gone to Weight Watchers and you understand it might be against their community guidelines. So let's start off with Manny. What fragrance would you wear whilst going to Subway buying subs?
Okay. Controversial thing I'm about to say.
There is nothing wrong with
no. Here
with a sandwich.
Hear me out. I have not in my life bought a sub online. I've never ever gone to Subway for a sub in my life.
What?
Spit on my computer.
You can check, like in my governments for that.
Can we check your records?
I'm serious. I've never gone there. I've never been there for subs ever.
Okay, so Manny would refuse. Manny would decide.
I'm a Quiznos guy.
Okay, right. Okay, that's fine.
Quiznos is good.
Right, so Manny would, instead of going and buying subs, he would actually try and create his own nutritional diet in which he would be able to grow naturally and slowly. Okay, so Ashton, what fragrance would you wear to buy subs?
So I do prefer Quiznos, as Manny noted. They've got like a nice herb blend that you can put on. It takes everything to the next level. Best for buying subs.
Right.
That's a good question. Probably Tom Ford effing Fabulous is probably the best one that I can think of that I would wear if I were going to buy a Quiznos.
That's fine.
Sandwich.
That's great. Timmy, what would you what fragrance would you wear whilst buying subs?
I don't know. I was thinking like I don't like to buy subs, like yours or Subway for that matter. I enjoy making my own subs, like in my house. You know,
Yeah.
putting in that hard work.
Is the quality as high though?
Put in the hard work.
I put in the hard work to make high quality subs here at my house. But if I was to go and buy subs, I'd probably wear something that's at least has to be niche quality, very like opulent type of scent. Something along the line of like calligraphy rose.
The Aramis fragrances.
The Aramis fragrances, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, just those ones.
Beautiful. If I was to buy subs, I would probably wear Bleecker Street, but unfortunately that has been discontinued, and that's such a shame because of its opulent quality. Right after I bought subs, I would go to the music store also, and I would buy Drake's album Views. Anyway, that is that end of that section. Anyway, have we got some?
Who's died? Who's died?
Have we got some questions to wrap this show up, please? Please, for the love of God, somebody.
I know Bradley just.
I'm sure Tina sent us some.
Bradley's in the comments as one of the stream monsters right now, and
yeah,
I'm just gonna give him an honorary nickname for the stream. Bradley, you are now not only too fresh, but you are too opulent.
Too opulent.
Good God! I think this is the wildest stream. This is the wildest damn stream I've ever seen in the world, and it
went off the rails.
It stayed off the rail. Like it never came back onto the rail.
Yeah, it was kind of there, and then it just hopped off the rails. I went down a ravine.
Oh my God! No, I love it. That's freaking beautiful. Right. So yeah, if there aren't any questions, I'm probably going to wrap this thing up. Can we get some sensible questions, please?
We got some good ones right here.
Yeah.
Boy has a good one. It's called "What fragrance do you wear while studying?" Now, I've been out of school for a while, but let's kick it back from when we were studying, or like if I were studying again, what would I wear? Probably something that was evocative of, just like Zen or workman-like thoughts. So I'd wear my Gucci.
Yeah, all day.
Discontinuation. So that's what I would wear. But Jacquard Noir is also pretty sick.
Dude, Jacquard Noir works for every situation.
Everyone's just gonna hear me like randomly saying Jacquard Noir in every single live.
You can wear it casually. You can wear it on a date. You can wear it to the club. You can wear it dressed up. You can wear it to a funeral. You can wear it to a wedding. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Beautiful. Anybody else? I'm losing my mind slowly.
Fragrances I wear to study are typically fragrances that makes me feel more creative. So I'll wear something that's I'll wear some House of Matriarch, honestly, because I want to feel more creative, more focused. And yeah, and that's what those are the fragrances I usually wear when I come up with ideas for my videos as well. I don't know. Just helps me think outside the box. That's just how the effects they have on me. Yeah.
Okay. For me, I would probably wear something like, I don't know, Allure Sport, actually. That reminds me of school and education, even though it's not the best weather to be doing it right now. But yeah, something nice and something, so there we go. That's what I'd wear. Jen, I'm Ashton, I'm sorry. It's now 2:10 in the morning.
That's okay. That's okay. Realistically,
yeah, go on.
That's okay. Back when I was studying, when I was younger, it would probably been something like Aqua de Chaux, because that was the hotness back in the day. All the ladies loved it, and all the guys loved it. So that was like the Sauvage of its day, I guess. Nowadays, I have no clue. It would just depend on what mood I'm in, I guess, and really, as far as what I want to smell. And I have way too much crap, so. I'll just say Bleecker Street because
Yes.
I'm lucky to have it in my collection. Because as you
Yeah,
know,
that's discontinued. Yeah.
I have 2 bottles, so I'm pretty psyched about that.
I'm really glad.
I got a question here.
I'd buy like 10 backup bottles from the nearest retailer who says that it's discontinued. I'd do that. Anyway, so
$250 for 100 mil. I got it.
Oh, Jesus, that's a bargain. Anyway, fragrance for you, Peter. Shout outs to Peter. Hope you had a lovely bonfire night, fellow UK citizen. Shout outs to Peter. He's asked a really interesting question. Are there any days when you just don't feel like wearing any fragrances, just where you need a break from smelling things and reviewing, or do you wear something every single day? Let's go for Gents, because I nearly forgot you last time. Go for it, Ashley.
That's okay. Yeah, there are days where I don't wear anything, where I just kind of lounge around, and maybe go over some notes that I've done, or I work on fragrance. I'm not like at Pete's level, but I'd still dilly-dally, if you want to call it that, I guess. So yeah, there are some days where it's just like, I don't want to take any notes. I don't want to wear anything even for myself, and I'll take a day off. Admittedly, it's not all that often, but
that's good. Fair enough. Yeah. Timmy?
For me, there are definitely days where I don't put on any fragrance. Like I smell fragrances every day, of course, like because I just have them laying around the house. It's hard for me not to grab them and like smell them. But there are some days that I just don't wear anything, and that's because it's just like I just don't feel like wearing anything, or I just don't know what to wear simply. And it's just one of the days I'm staying at home. But if I'm going outside, I'm going somewhere. 99.9% of the time I'm wearing something. It's just when sometime I'm at home, like a lot of days. Some of the days I just don't feel like wearing anything. So yeah.
Yeah. And Manny?
I'm definitely wearing something like every day. Personally, I don't think I've missed out on at least 4 or 5 years, to be honest. Mainly because fragrances for me is like I like being able to express myself through scent. So it's a feeling that I'm kind of addicted to. You know what I'm saying? So as a result, I'm always going to be wearing something. Have I felt like not wearing anything? Maybe during a funeral, to be honest. But like I say that seriously. But to be honest, like I typically wake up looking forward to my day, right? And I can't wait to wear something that makes me feel I feel like evoking, and opulent, of course. So yeah.
Oh yeah, gotta get that opulent in.
Oof.
Yeah.
just a little jabs.
Yeah. Little jab.
Too crazy.
I can't wait for the day. I can't wait for the day where we can all finally actually talk about this openly. But today is not that day. Anyway, so
that Aragorn.
It sounds like never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. I've got that Lord of the Rings kind of shizzle. So I actually wear fragrances. I'm very excited when it's kind of part of my daily routine. I wake up, have a shower, and I'll pick a fragrance, and it's always quite exciting. Some days I won't be for special occasions. Maybe like, I think it's inappropriate to wear a fragrance at a funeral. I don't know why. It just seems kind of odd. But for most other things, I'm totally down. I mean, I've got so many fragrances, and I got to wear them. You know what I mean? I got to go for it. So that's all good. I think that. What do you think, guys? Should we run till past and then close it up? We all cool with that?
Yeah, it's fine.
So 15 more minutes
with me.
That all good with Manny and Tim?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 15 more minutes, everybody. Tim, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm about to drop some knowledge in the chat with the stream monsters. Check this out. Read what I just said.
Salute, brother.
No, they haven't.
Welcome.
Or
no, they haven't.
Going?
No, they haven't.
Yeah,
no, they haven't.
There's risks.
Right.
About the
I see what you said there, Tim. Respect. Respect that.
Hashtag
I'm gonna get.
Wow.
Yeah, am I missing
Tim.
something?
That's beautiful.
Tim, no, it's not like that. Not on stream.
Right. Tyler, I want to just very quickly speak to Tyler. Tyler, when we getting you back on, brother? When are we getting you back on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. For love of goodness, where's your videos and where are you? We want you back on Team Top 5. I feel
talking some jive to me. I'm gonna come out.
I feel alone without my memeable brother. You know what I mean? Shout out to TM Sense. So Chris asks, really solid question. Besides Jeremy, what reviewer sold you on a blind buy, niche designer, or both? And what are they? And who are they, I presume?
Okay.
So let's go to Annie.
Yeah, recently, and this is because, like, I'm a strong advocate of not blind buying, period. That being said, like, just to, just support my boy, blind bought this, whether it was going to be dope or not, and of course it was.
Yay.
So, Too Good to Tell by House of Matriarch, and safe to say it's gorgeous and potentially the best fragrance released this year, at least to my nose. So,
yes.
So, my homie right here, off the top of my head, Imagine Scent. As far as designers, off the top of my head, to be honest, you know what? I honestly can't recall. Like, typically, if someone recommends me something, I'm fortunate and blessed enough that I can just go somewhere, be able to test it out, and then buy it if I like it. You know what I'm saying? So, there's really no reason for me to blind buy, personally, unless I'm not, mainstream niche or designer house. Like, so if it's something that I can really only get in the depths of, like, Oswald's, or a place like that, then maybe I'll, get a sample of it somehow else. But I just try not to blind buy, but I'll support the homies, Too Good to Tell, House of Matriarch.
Too Good to Timmy.
Too Good to Timmy, beautiful.
Yep.
Right, so who else?
What was the question?
Yeah, so the question was, apart from Jeremy, who else has made you blind buy, certain scents, whether it be designer or niche? Sorry, I can't even speak at this point. Ashton.
And is it opulent?
Over the years, there have been a number of people that have probably influenced me subconsciously that I've ended up buying something. I don't know anything off the top of my head where I watched something and immediately after the video went online and purchased it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that there are a number of videos and reviews and rankings that I've watched over the years where subconsciously I put certain fragrances into my head like, oh, that's on the list. And then a couple weeks later ended up buying. I don't have one where I sat down, watched it, and was like, oh my God, I have to have this, and immediately went online and bought it, because typically the way I evaluate purchases that are going to be for myself, I read reviews, I look up notes, and then I watch maybe reviews if there's some out there, and then I purchase it unless it's a brand new release, and then I just get it for the channel. Yeah, it's a lame answer, but that's kind of
I don't recall anyone making me blind buy a niche fragrance either. I'll usually get a sample of it and try it out first.
That's always the best way.
Yeah, actually test it. Yeah, without a doubt.
Actually tested.
See if it's for you, because what evolves on someone else's skin, performance-wise, and as far as like scent journey and trail, is going to evolve on you differently as well. We all have, different skin chemistry. We have different conditions. We have different uses of what we use it in. And, there's potential, if we're talking Creed, batch variation even. So you should really try out what you're going to get right then and there.
Exactly.
That's lovely. Honestly, for me, Hiro Yokozuna made me buy a lot of fragrances. That's no joke. Miguel did. I'm a huge Miguel fanboy. I love that guy.
When I first started, I kept getting mistaken for him.
Oh wait, you're not Hero?
That is partially right.
For real. It's just like, oh, here comes this, kid from, Canada, of same skin complexion. Yeah, and it's just like people.
Similar. Yeah, but you are not though. You are nothing like.
No, definitely not.
You're nothing
No,
like that guy.
his taste was way more, and I don't say this, mainstream, so.
Yeah, he was. No,
Yeah, but he's lovely.
Miguel was beautiful, and I, attributed a lot of my original style to his. I've obviously tried to evolve from now, but I'm trying to think recently. I'm not just talking rubbish because he is one of my best friends, but Brad, he really sold me on one of his fragrances in his starting lineup. Apple brand. He really has sold me on apple brandy, but there was this other fragrance that he talked about. I can't remember it, but he's made me really interested in that. I don't know. It's quite difficult when you're actually a fragrance reviewer and your business is actually into, seeking out fragrances and stuff like that, because you're kind of constantly researching. But yeah, Miguel, Robes, definitely. And I'll actually say this: Manny made me rediscover Golden Boy this year.
Whoops.
Yeah, and ironically, in that video, I don't know. I think it's your top 10 winter from last year or something, where Golden Boy was on it. I rewatched that, and you even mentioned me. And I watched it, and I was like, well, this is ridiculous because I haven't tried Golden Boy in such a long time, and you made me want to go back to it. So full circle right there. Anyway, let's get some more questions here. Tyler, give me an awkward question to answer. Not really. Let's see some good solid questions. We've got 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, on this stream. What is the question?
Did we just get an LDS question, Ashton?
Yeah, there's one there. What's the best Mormon missionary fragrance? I don't even know if they wear fragrances.
I was gonna say, do they wear that out in Salt Lake?
I don't know, man. I've been out to Salt Lake.
Yeah,
my family's Mormon. I haven't been to an LDS church in a long time, but they're all Mormon.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was like, because I recall the last time I was in an LDS church because we had a family friend who is that, right? And I wore, I believe, because it was in my late teenage years, I was still wearing the one for men really consistently. So something very, very safe. Presuming that not everyone there is into fragrance.
Right.
And something that's hard to hate. And I feel like that fragrance is. But at the same time, where I also come from, maybe it is easy to hate because there's such a negative connotation towards it because of how immature people perceive it, because a lot of kids were around my age were wearing it back then. So keep that in mind as well, that scent memories are definitely a thing and could trigger people. Just saying. Yeah. Despite it being objectively a very safe scent. But it's a very notable scent. Yeah. So.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's a thing.
So just asking for more questions, but we have only got 7 minutes, and then we are out. Will you, or did you consider? Have you ever considered to end your fragrance journey?
Hell no.
No. Yeah, no. Once you start, basically, this is it. Some of us may retire from making videos, but if I was to retire tomorrow, I would still have fragrances in my life. Somebody actually said to me, and I just want to relay this little story here. Because when I was in Brighton, I would be able to guess what different fragrances people were wearing if there was a party or a house party, and which most of us can do. That's not unique to me. Most fragrance reviewers can do it. It's a blessing and a curse. But somebody came up to me and said, wow, that's quite an incredible ability. That will probably never leave you. And it's true, so fragrances will never leave me. Unless you wash them off in a shower. But what I mean by that is, my passion for this will probably never go away. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm too far deep in at this point, right?
True.
It'd be kind of
Passion.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Balls deep.
Balls
Balls
deep.
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 1,000 feet under. So
Yeah.
I think it's
And
a lifelong thing at this point.
absolutely. I'm very, very proud to be on this opulent journey that I'm on. You know, as we all are, I think.
Of course.
Deary, deary me. Well, it's a guilty pleasure. That is a good question, Pete. So, I think that we've basically kind of ran out here of. There's not many questions coming in, but I think that, you know what, 2 hours and 2.5 hours.
There's a lot of questions,
That's pretty
bro.
awesome, guys.
There's a ton of questions.
Have we?
Yeah, I can see what it is now.
Tell me.
Fragrance
Why
News
would you
just asked, are there any notes in perfume that just makes you sick, like really badly sick? What's the worst?
That's good. I must be looking at a different chat here. I'm sorry. So yes, great question. So let's go for that. Are there any notes in particular in fragrance that make you physically sick? Let's start with Manny.
Physically sick. Typically, anything that comes off as overly fresh, spicy. So, for example, the way that pepper is done in the fragrance called Ferragamo F Black, or something like cloves, which is typically when it's done, it's overdone. You know, because it's easy to overdo it. So stuff like that, fresh spiciness, but with like a little warmth to it. So, those typical kitchen spices is what really makes me nauseated. So I would say that.
Okay, Tim.
Iris.
Really?
Iris is one of my most hated notes. I only have like 2 Iris fragrances that I actually like. Granted, they're still not my favorite fragrances, but yeah, Iris are tough for me.
Iris
I
is
just
very
don't like
regardless
Iris.
of how it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
typically.
I mean, I could have gone with a cop-out answer like Civet, but I think that's a given, so I didn't want to go for that note. So that's Iris.
Ashton.
Yeah. So there are certain aroma chemicals that, when they're used incorrectly, or what I perceive to be incorrectly, they give me almost like a headache. Especially green aroma chemicals that are supposed to give off like a green leafy vibe. They can just turn into a freaking nightmare and just smell overpoweringly synthetically green to the point that it makes you feel sick. And then citrus, especially if it's used like a synthetic citrus like Scorza di Sicilia, if it's used incorrectly, it ends up smelling like sweat.
Yep.
That is a no-go. So there are certain citrus fragrances where you get it and you read the note breakdown and you're like, oh, dope, orange and blah, blah, blah. And you go, okay, it's going to be nice. And you spray it on, and maybe initially it's okay. And then right afterwards, it turns into like a weird sweat-smelling orange, and that's just absolute ass. And that there's a number of fragrances that do that, but those are the ones that I dislike. Yeah, Pete's got it. He knows what I'm talking about.
Okay. There's more questions as well. We have one from So Nice 69, a fellow Canadian subscriber of mine. He's asking, what reviewer has the best collection out there, or a collection that you really envy? And then after that, we'll get to a question from the Broadwalk. But as far as So Nice 69, your question, fam, thanks for tuning in as well. I think that as far as collections go, like one that I'm really taken aback by, if anything, is probably Mr. Oz. And if you guys don't know who that is, definitely check him out. He's my bilingual brethren from, I believe, Minnesota, and he's lovely. And his approach to buying fragrances, just because he's so YOLO, is that he won't buy samples. What he'll do is like buy the entire fragrance line or house, and if he doesn't like it, he'll be like, yeah, I'll sell it. I don't care if I lost money, because like I'm YOLO. And that's my man right there. This guy literally last year bought the entire, like he blind bought most of them, the entire Laura et la Matière Guerlain line. I thought that shit was the most gangster shit I've ever seen in fragrances, I know another dude who who bought the entire line, but he actually thoroughly tested it. My friend, You Smells Good, and he bought in real life. But for us to do some G shit, like to actually just like blind buy the entire line, that was gangster. You know, I respect the pimp hand, so you know, I'm gonna say Mr. Oz.
That's fantastic. So, Ashton, who do you think has the best fragrance collection in the YouTube fragrance community?
Besides yourself.
Yeah, I've got a big one. So Mr. Oz, yeah, I echo what Manny said, and then I'll throw in Ryan from Rice Frags. He's got some hardcore niche fragrances, tons and tons of Rosa Dove. So if you're into stuff like that, he's got a sick collection. And then Steven, of course, has and Steven and Carlos, they both have large collections as well.
Steven's solid.
Yeah, Rice Frags 3-4, his collection is like what someone like myself, and I'm not saying this to denigrate him, he has like the middle-aged rich guy awesome.
Yeah, like the very top of the line expensive niche stuff.
He has the Rojas, he has the Clives, and that stuff is just like he'll have the entire line of both those, you know, brands I mentioned. And that's like more than all I and like Tim and George have combined value-wise. And I know how much my collection's worth. It's over 30 grand. But like I know how much like he has, and it's
it's next level.
Right. Yeah. So we're running out of time here a little bit, so we're going to go to Timmy, and then we're going to answer the Broadwalks question, and then we are done. So Timmy, who do you feel has got the best fragrance collection?
To me, the best fragrance collection, that's tough. I'll have to go with I would have to go with Steven and Ashton over here, because you guys own a lot of niche and indie fragrances, and I'm into a lot of niche and indie fragrances. The reason I didn't pick Jeremy, even though he has 1,000 bottles, because I don't think like in terms of what like I saw on the back of his wall, like what he owns, he doesn't own too many of like the like interesting like indie hard to find stuff that I personally love.
True.
So I'm not overly jealous of that collection, although I am jealous of that collection, but I'm more jealous of like Steven's and Ashton's collection.
Yeah, I'll do a video at some point. I just got everything organized properly by house here, so as soon as I can set aside like 3 hours or some shit.
Fragrance collection movie.
Yeah,
dude.
I'll fly over. I'll help him film it. I'll fly over. I'll help you film it. Don't worry about it.
Video is so hard. It's so hard.
I don't know how to do it, honestly, man.
But have fun.
What I've got to say is I think that one fragrance collection I think is a little bit underrated is actually Frag Boy Stewie. He's got a lot of Middle Eastern fragrances that are quite hard to come by.
No, not anymore. Not anymore.
He sold a lot of them.
All right. Well, back in the day when he did a video, his collection was pretty tight, but not anymore. No, that I've heard that. But Stevens is, you know, mythical. So
I think at this point I have like I've got like 1,100 or something at this point.
Jeez. So, Manny.
So the Broadwalk has an interesting question. Yes. What's the one fragrance you can't resist on the opposite sex as it turns you on? Now, I'll make this fast. It's one that I'm also testing right now, simultaneously right here. And I hate to say it because I was gutted by the fact that I couldn't help but feel like I really wanted to smell this on Bay so much. And that is this fragrance.
Oh, boy. Oh boy!
Like
amazing.
When I smelled it, I'm like, oh my gosh! Like I'm not sure if I could pull this off a signature scent, but I smelled it and I'm like, oh my god! Like homegirl needs to wear this ASAP. You know, it's literally how I thought. It's a very, if you're a fashionable, like young urban professional or just urban professional in general, who, if you're a guy who leans metrosexual or if you're a girl who's into, quote unquote nice things, I just think that this would fit you so much potentially. And I make fun of it for its, its obvious hype and its uproar as far as its name and its evaluation, but I can't help but want to like it off of someone, to be honest. So it'd be that.
Okay, Ashton.
So yeah, this is my typical go-to answer. It's Hypnotic Poison, Eau de Parfum.
Yeah.
My favorite one off of Woman. I just think it smells really sexy. I don't know, something about it, man. It does it for me. Midnight Poison too, but Midnight Poison is so hard to find nowadays that I kind of just automatically will say Hypnotic Poison instead. So that whole Poison line has a bunch of killers as far as women's scents go, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Tim, what do you enjoy Bay wearing?
There's this one female fragrance that I remember distinctly the first time I smelled it. It just triggered such a reaction in me that, like, man, my girlfriend needs to wear this right away, and that's actually what I got her as a gift. It's like the next time I like my next chance of meeting her, and that's called La Nuit Trésor by Lancôme. Something about that is just like, wow, like, what is this? This is the most sexiest woman I've ever like smelled. That's what I imagined when I smelled that fragrance, and it's still my #1 favorite female designer fragrance till this day. I don't think anything beats it for me. Yeah.
I'd say that mine would actually be there's two. Angel by Terry Mugler is something I really do find sexy, but Mandorlo di Sicilia from Acqua di Parma. It's the way that works on a woman's skin chemistry. It's just, I mean, I enjoy wearing it and I get something out of it separately. But for me, yeah, there's just something I really like. So that's Mandorlo di Sicilia by Acqua di Parma. We've had a long, educational, interesting, weird, funny, amusing, satiring stream. It's gone on for 2.5 hours. I'm glad that you've all stuck with us this time round. I've been George the Fragrance Apprentice. I'm going to give myself a cheeky plug here, but my fall list is coming out probably tomorrow. So that should be very exciting. As a sequel to last year's fall list, which was very, very highly enjoyed. You've been watching Manny from CASCADESCENTS, an awesome guy. You've been watching Timmy from Imagine Scents, and you've been watching the ever cool and collected Ashton from Gents. We've been Team Top 5. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Please like this video. Get involved with Team Top 5. We will see you next Sunday. As always, thank you for watching. Bye. Wave goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.